Good morning. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The world is watching for any signs or signals from President Trump on whether the U.S. becomes involved in the Iran-Israel conflict. Now, at issue, whether President Trump okays the use of that mother of all bunker-busting bombs, the only one that could destroy Iran's underground nuclear site at Fordo.
The New York Times reports Iran is preparing missiles for potential retaliatory attacks on U.S. bases. In the meantime, Iran firing more ballistic missiles at Israel overnight. Iran's missile stockpile may be dwindling. Some analysts estimate Tehran may have fewer than 1,000 medium-range missiles left. And Israel now says it's neutralized one-third of Iran's missile launchers.
That's ABC's Perry Russum reporting. Israel said this morning that a flight landed at the country's main international airport. It's carrying Israeli passengers from Cyprus who had been trapped abroad since the assault on Iran began. More than 100,000 Israelis have been trying to get home since the skies closed following the campaign against Iran. Local news, Metro Council voted to increase taxes as it passed an operating budget for fiscal year 2026. It is a $3.8 billion budget that includes a hike in property taxes. The new rate is $2.18 for every $100 of assessed value. Now, some people who attended last night's council meeting weren't happy about it.
I would encourage Metro Council members to pay attention to their constituents who have been yelling at them no on property tax increases. We're going to remember tonight's vote in 2 years.
City employees are getting a 2% raise in this budget. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stocks slumped under the rising price of oil amid the worsening fight between Israel and Iran. Crude oil prices jumped over 3%. The Dow lost 299 points, the S&P gave up 50, and the Nasdaq dropped 180 points. Investors also reacting to President Trump, calling for Iran's unconditional surrender, saying the country's leader is, quote, an easy target. Higher oil prices can sometimes help green companies like those in the solar industry, but solar stocks tumbled because Congress might phase out tax credits for clean energy sources. In-phase energy dropped 24.3%, and First Solar fell 18.5%. On the winning end of Wall Street, global manufacturing company Jabil, which jumped over 8% after reporting a stronger profit for the latest quarter than expected. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Stock futures running a bit higher this morning. The Dow futures up 80 points. The Nasdaq futures are plus 78, and the S&P futures, they're up 17. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Once again this morning, a nice quiet ride in on 24, on 40, and on 65. No big delays to speak of so far. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Good morning. Hope you are doing well so far. And welcome into a June 18th of 2025. It is a Wednesday. And the world is watching. Joan, have you seen all the rhetoric?
Oh, yes, and it's on hyper rhetoric.
Iran is saying tonight a great surprise will occur.
Oh.
Israel is saying that if you thought that the Patriot attacks against Hamas were incredible, just wait for the next 24 hours. And Donald Trump sent a message to the supreme leader of Iran saying that we'll let you live for now, but you have 48 hours to surrender. Enough of that.
That's really not helping.
It's not helping?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Screaming headline from this morning. Trump has given Iran's ruling clerics 48 hours to give themselves up. U.S. officials have indicated that Iran has 24 to 48 hours to surrender and save itself from an American military onslaught as President Trump considers joining Israel's war. White House officials said the next 2 days will be critical in determining whether Washington and Tehran can find a diplomatic solution to the burgeoning crisis in the Middle East. Hey, Joan, you think this is going to get old pretty quick?
It got old about 3 minutes ago.
Did it really?
Yep.
Man, you were like killer of all fun.
That's the 60 minutes clock, and I hate that clock with a passion.
It is a 60 minutes clock, isn't it? Whoa.
I hate when they do promos because I hate that ticking. Because I'm I'm trying to watch the game.
Oh, look, KGB's back. Also hating on the host.
No, it's not you. It's 60 minutes I hate.
You know what? I do have, I did consider using the 24 clock.
Oh, I
That's
actually
much
like
better.
that one better.
That's
Is
much
this better?
better.
Yeah.
That's much better. It's more fun.
It is more fun.
And it's a better show.
Much. That's a great point, KGB. Much better show. You know what? Jack Bauer could have this thing done in like an hour.
P.S. So could President Trump, but he's being measured. And there are some times that's frustrating as well.
Yeah, well, sometimes measured is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yes, but I think that we all just kind of wish it was already Sunday, and let's get past this.
We always wish it's always Sunday. We wish it's Sunday all the time.
Yeah, because, then the next day is Monday. Stop it. All right.
It was like, is that the countdown to Monday?
That's exactly what that is. Let's see here. Earlier yesterday, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that he knew where Iran's supreme leader Ali Hosseini Khamenei is hiding, but would not yet launch a strike. He is again adding that he wants an unconditional surrender. By the way, Khamenei also shared a separate message in English saying this: we must give a strong response to the terrorist Zionist regime. Also adding, we will show the Zionists no mercy. So there you go. Meanwhile, Iranian state television ominously reported that tonight a great surprise will occur, one that the world will remember for centuries. Now, when they say tonight, like when is tonight in Iran? Like that, is that like now?
What time is it in Iran?
Because I'm,
It's probably like a 12-hour difference.
It's 1:39 p.m. right now in Iran.
Okay, so 1:39. So tonight in Iran will be at the end of the Chris Hand show, going into the Chad Benson show. Okay. So
Chad's the big winner.
we'll have to wait. Chad's going to
Winner,
be the
chicken
big
dinner.
winner. It's exactly right.
If anything actually happens.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, Iran has been bloviating for years and years and years and years, and they've also carried out many terrorist attacks, and so we'll have to through their proxies and so forth. And so, everybody, it's like a war of. You know what it feels like? It feels like the war of words before the war. That's what it feels like. They say that amid the threats, Donald Trump is said to be considering a U.S. strike on Tehran following a Situation Room crisis talks with security advisors. So President Trump has been given 3 options by advisors about how he should deal with all of this. And as the Daily Mail puts it, how the president should utilize the largest military in history. Our military should assist Israel in demolishing Iran's nuclear program, according to the New York Times. So Trump was provided these 3 options. The first, they say, and most basic option was the U.S. providing intelligence and jets for refueling Israeli airplanes on bombing missions as they go through all of that. The second option, including American and Israeli joint forces on Iran. And the most hawkish, they say, the most hawkish option provided a plan for a U.S.-led military campaign that included B-1 and B-2 bombers, aircraft carriers, and cruise missiles launched from submarines, according to The Times. So I don't know. Which do you think it's going to be? Joan, you have an opinion? By the way, the Daily Dan poll today, watch us on YouTube and take the Daily Dan poll, like and subscribe, throw the host a bone, and give us a thumbs up, too. I don't get nearly enough thumbs up on the YouTube.
What number do you want to get at? How many likes on the video do you want today?
I'm not going to do that.
Get to at least 100 people.
Okay, let's do at least 100. But our Daily Dan poll today on YouTube, watch and like and all that. YouTube is, what did we decide? What is your prediction? What do you believe that Donald Trump is going to do?
Yeah, so the question is, what do you predict Trump will do with the Israel-Iran conflict? Either will respond with military action or only aid Israel versus Iran? Honestly, I prefer that over the ticking. I still do.
Joan, you prefer that over the ticking?
I prefer silence.
Joan, Joan's been a little persnickety today with the sound effects.
I got a little less sleep last night than normal.
Joan was at our big event last night.
The big event.
So we're gonna talk about that at 5:35. One of my favorite parts of these kind of events are meeting folks that we've been communicating with on, for example, the Super Text line. So we'll get into that. We do have a lot of serious business to discuss. I think that this is one of those topics. There seems to be an update every couple of hours. As a matter of fact, I should be logged into Truth Social this morning. I'm not. Joe, and I hope you are. KGB, if you could. By the way, welcome back, KGB. If everybody could be logged into Truth Social, that would be great. New Harvard CAPS polling on this, by the way. 85% of the people say that Iran should not be allowed to have nuclear weapons. See, that's the easy part.
Sure.
I mean, everybody knows, that Iran should clearly not have nuclear weapons. Trump has been saying this, by the way, for 10 years. We are sharply divided, though, on how to make that happen. Military action. We are so incredibly divided on this. So how do we make sure that Iran does not get a nuclear weapon? With military action, 54% of the people say that they are supportive of military action. 46% are against it. 69% of Republicans support using the military to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. 41% of Democrats and independents are at 52%. Got a lot more. America's favorite warmonger is coming up next. Lindsey Graham, I know that you already know what he's going to say, but we'll talk about what he has to say and why he is saying it. Coming up next, it is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
There is a problem this morning at Long Hunter State Park, a crash on Hobson Pike near Couchville Pike, and the response to that is wrapping up now. There could be some delays in that area. Major roads heading into Nashville, no big deal this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Maybe this could be like a new weather sounder.
Maybe I
Should we put a
and-
cap on how many times he does
I
this?
think we
Weather-
should just nuke the button
Weather-
so he stops it.
Interesting choice of words,
Yes,
Joan.
I know.
We are in serious situations right now with the nuclear weapons. Weather today, a high of 90 and scattered thunderstorms as well. Lindsey Graham. Sure, Matt Murphy said about Lindsey Graham yesterday.
I heard a lot about what he said, but be specific.
Matt says Lindsey Graham needs to go out and get laid.
Oh, gosh.
That's what Matt said.
Okay.
Because-
well, he may not be wrong.
Listen, everywhere you go, Lindsey Graham is talking about military action and regime change and all that.
The men and women who serve, they're the ones going, not people answering a poll. And if you ask them, would you be willing to risk your life to stop the Ayatollah from having a nuclear weapon? All of them would say yes, because it makes their country, our country, safer.
So, again, they're talking about the polling that's out there. 69% of Republicans support using the military, 41% of Democrats and independents are at 52%. But America, by and large, sharply divided over using the military. 54% say yes, we should. 46% are against using the military. Now, every time, I kid you not, every time I turn the television on and I've got like Fox News on or CNN or whatever, there's Lindsey Graham. And so he's all over the place. And of course, you know, he is falling all over himself trying to get us to not only, you know, obviously stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, but also to go in militarily to force regime change. Do you know how much Lindsey Graham, because we've all been talking about this, do you know how much Lindsey Graham makes off of donations from military contractors? Generally, this is just some of the people that have donated to Lindsey Graham. General Electric, Boeing, Honeywell, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, all contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars to Lindsey Graham over the years. Oftentimes, you know, big ticket donations or individual donations within these companies as well. Do you know the guy who his company produces military Humvees? Donated $500,000 through a super PAC to Lindsey Graham. So when you hear Lindsey Graham telling us that we should send our military into Iran to support regime change, well, realize his donors would profit big time.
Let's stop this threat before he gets a nuclear weapon. Let's end this reign of terror. Let's do it now. It's not going to take 20 months, but I can't guarantee you your freedom and your safety unless we're willing to fight for it. I can guarantee you this. If we don't fight for our freedom, we will lose it.
So there you go. Warhawk, Lindsey Graham. And again, every time I turn on the TV, there he is trying to get us to go into Iran militarily. And by the way, again, everybody agrees that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. I have been very consistent. I believe that, you know, it's got to be a combination of sanctions and supporting Israel as they do what they need to do to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. I'm not at all into regime change. I think that what you need to do is you just need to kneecap them or decapitate them militarily and from a nuclear standpoint. If we're able to do that, then it doesn't matter who's ultimately at the top. You actively work to change the regime in Iran. Well, then you don't know. And we've all talked about this incessantly. You don't know what's going to come next. You don't know how wackadoo the next guy is going to be, and the guy after that, and the guy after that. We've been talking, Joan and I were laughing yesterday about how one of the military leaders of Iran who had been on the job, maybe, 3 days, whatever it was?
He was on the job for 4 days.
4 days. And we took him out. And so I do believe that when Donald Trump says, oh, yeah, the supreme leader of Iran, we know exactly where you are. We're going to let you live for now, but you have to surrender in 24 hours. So there you go. By the way, one of my favorite sound bites today is Donald Trump and the example is how consistent he has been over the past 10 years. 10 years he has been talking about Iran and their nuclear weapons.
I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and we won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry that has absolutely no concept of negotiation,
John Kerry,
who's making a horrible and laughable deal, who's just being tapped along as they make weapons right now.
He's been very consistent. And you know what's funny, Joan, and I know that you remember this because I certainly do. When Donald Trump was out on the campaign trail, you had all of these different Democrats and yes, people in the media as well. And they were all talking about how Donald Trump was going to bring us into World War III.
Oh,
Do you remember all of that?
Yes, I do.
Insanity. It was like...
Well, we're on the brink of World War III because Donald Trump took the worst possible option given to him in a slideshow.
The dangers of a deranged president retaining control over a nuclear hyperpower.
We cannot wait around while Donald Trump is in control of the nuclear weapon.
Your objection to potentially going into World War III cannot be procedural.
The biggest danger of the Trump presidency is that we are always just a Trump whim away from nuclear war.
I mean, if you want to go see that, Joan, that is like a 2.5 to 3 minute video. And they only scratched the surface on all of these accusations against Donald Trump and how he was some sort of a warmonger and he was going to be a bull in the china shop and he was going to tweet us into World War III. Remember all of that?
Ugh.
And it was also ridiculous, especially when you look back and you realize the great lengths that Donald Trump is going to try to keep us out of World War III. But we don't know what he's going to do right now. I just went over the three options that the president has. You know, we can go all in, or basically we can support Israel as they go or continue to go all in. So we'll have to wait and see what the president does. There have been some indications that he is looking at possibly joining the fight militarily with Israel against Iran. But we don't know how much of that is bluster, right? So remember, with all of this rhetoric, there's also a lot of mind games that are being played as well. So we don't really know what Trump is really thinking. There's a lot of messaging going on, and it's weird because it's like in the morning he'll say, well, I don't have any interest in military action ourselves against Iran. And then by the afternoon, his message has completely changed. So we'll have to see what happens. It is 5:23, but we've got you covered with all the news you need to know here on Super Talk 99.7. Joan Jones has the news at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, so will the U.S. join the effort to eliminate Iran's nukes? What we're hearing this morning, and also what DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was doing before she was hospitalized last evening. Those stories coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
528, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Apparently, Jonah, I owe you an apology.
Is that right?
Yeah, because one of the super texters said that I asked you a question and then I kept yakking. Do you know what the question was? I don't even know what the question was that I asked you.
Yeah, I do, because I remember being asked and then being summarily pushed aside.
Wow. It's going to be... KGB, is it just me or is Joan just a little...
She's testy this morning.
She's a little testy this morning.
She's ready for fighting.
It's all the atomic talk.
Is it the atomic talk?
It may be, yeah.
Well, granted, you guys did go to bed pretty late for us,
Yeah.
at least, so
Yeah.
I would be testy, too. I actually got to bed at a reasonable hour for the first time all weekend.
Well, congratulations, and we'll talk about all of that. But what was the question, Joan, that I asked?
I think you asked me which one I thought it was going to be that we would, I guess it would be that we're going into war or we're not.
Okay.
I think.
All right. And what?
It was so important that I forgot what it was.
Do you remember what your answer was?
No. Oh, God.
That was good. I'm going to give you full credit for that.
I'm going to play this, Joan, until you remember your answer.
That was brilliant.
We are not going to war. We are not going to war, Lindsey Graham.
All right. War hawk, Lindsey Graham.
Yes.
Got a lot more straight ahead. Nashville's Morning News. Great audio. If you have not heard the audio of Arnold Schwarzenegger on The View, I'm going to play that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
Good morning, 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It is overcast right now and 75, and there's a pretty good chance that we're going to have some thunderstorms roll through today. Stick around for the forecast right after the news. There are some fresh signs that the U.S. may be considering getting involved in that Iran-Israel conflict.
Israel and Iran exchanging a new round of attacks, as the U.S. appears to be on the brink of deeper involvement in the conflict. The Pentagon now deploying dozens of aerial refueling tankers to the region. President Trump demanding Iran's unconditional surrender and threatening Iran's supreme leader, saying, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader of Iran is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out kill, at least not for now."
Now, that's Perry Russum, by the way, from ABC News. President Trump held a meeting yesterday in the White House Situation Room with his national security team. He's reportedly considering joining the strikes, but CBS is reporting there is not full agreement among the president's closest advisors. An update now on the health of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She is reportedly alert and recovering, according to her Assistant Secretary, Tricia McLaughlin, after having an allergic reaction. But Newsweek is reporting that Noem had visited a biological hazard lab in Frederick, Maryland the day before on Monday. There is nothing now to suggest there is any link between that lab visit and her reaction. But Fort Detrick is home to some of America's most important biological research and defense facilities. No decision made yet after a 2-day competency hearing for accused Nashville gunman Shaquille Taylor. He's the man accused of gunning down Belmont student Julian Ludwig in 2023. Jillian's mother believes that Taylor is cognitively capable of standing trial, and she tells Channel 4 that he should be held accountable.
Even if it was an accident, if you're shooting a gun in a public place, your intent is to kill someone. And he shot a gun in public in the middle of the afternoon into a park. We must now live with a life sentence, and so should he.
The judge is expected to issue a ruling in the coming weeks. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So Long Hunter State Park, they're still working the crash scene on Hobson Pike near Couchville Pike, but we're hearing that is wrapping up. No delays on 24, 40, or 65 so far. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, along with Joan Jones, KGB. I'm Dan Mandis. Hello. So we had a great time last night. Just real quick, we had a great time last night at the event, and I always enjoyed these events. Do you know who we met, KGB? You weren't there, but we met Tammy. And Tammy, who, in case you don't know, she is, I guess, a loyal listener, and she tends to, pick on yours truly on occasion on the social media platform known as X.
She's a prolific Xer.
She is a prolific Xer, and so we met her last night.
T-A-M-I, yeah.
And it was like, oh, you're Tammy.
Yeah,
you're the one,
right?
You're the one that blows up my X feed when we're on the air.
Great lady.
She's
very,
super.
very cool.
Yep.
So enjoyed meeting her. Enjoyed meeting a whole bunch of listeners. I mean, it was a great event. The rain, I think, prevented some folks from coming, so it was a more of an intimate gathering. But I had a great time.
We met Turd last night too.
Well, you met. I've met Turd.
I've met Turd as well.
I met him last time at the last event that we were at.
Where Matt shaved.
What's that?
Or where Matt got his haircut. That's where.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Really,
Turd's awesome.
Just some really terrific
salt of the earth people.
Yep.
And I enjoy those events so much because I get to, meet new listeners. I get to see old friends as well. And I really enjoy those opportunities.
And you let me eat your pizza.
Oh, my gosh. So Joan comes in, KGB. You'll love this. So we invite Joan in to join the conversation. And so I scoot over to my right to make room for Joan. And my pizza was like right in front of me because I hadn't eaten all day. She starts picking the pepperoni off of my pizza.
Wait, what?
Yes.
No, that's not cool.
That's what I told her.
You can take a slice. That's one thing. But putting your fingers on other parts.
So here's the thing. I
told Joan my pepperoni is sacred.
I picked a piece of pepperoni from in between two slices.
That
means you put your fingers on two separate slices of pizza, Joan.
And I only took one. I hope you ate the other one, Dan, because now you have my cooties.
Wait. Did you give your husband a slice or just yourself?
He wasn't there.
Oh, boo.
Yeah.
I've had worse cooties than Joan Jones cooties. Just
really?
So we're clear. Oh, yeah. Penicillin, though, cleaned it right up. Hey, can we talk about Kristi Noem?
No.
Yes.
So
okay, I need a second.
So Kristi Noem, she goes to this place where they've got all of these infectious disease things
She
going
was at
on?
Fort Detrick, which is really like nobody goes to Fort Detrick on purpose.
And that's like your old neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And so what do they do at Fort? See, this terrifies me.
Yeah.
Because she goes to this place where, I mean, basically it sounds like a biolab.
It is. That's what Fort Detrick is.
Like the COVID lab?
It's, yeah, scary.
That was the first thing that I thought of was the COVID lab in Wuhan. And so Kristi Noem goes to this lab and then she leaves.
No, she had been there. Let's be clear. She was there on Monday.
Okay, so Monday she's there, and then Tuesday she goes into the hospital with an allergic reaction?
Yes.
Yeah, but what was it to?
We
like
don't
some
know.
sort of biohazard?
And that's, you know, when there's like a vacuum of information, it gets filled with all kinds of things, and that's kind of what Newsweek is doing. But we don't know if she was at a restaurant and ate something.
Right.
We don't know if she has a peanut allergy. Like, we don't know anything.
Right.
So the void is just being filled with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and is it like a contagious thing that she picked up at the biolab in Maryland?
So the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases is part of Fort Detrick. That's the Army's main lab for biodefense research. There's also the National Biodefense Analysis and Countermeasures Center, which is dedicated to defending the nation against biological threats. This facility is like one of the scariest in the nation ever. People don't talk about it very much. And it's in Frederick, Maryland, so it's a little further away from Washington, D.C. Central.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a scary place. And she was out there with Secretary Robert F. Kennedy and Jr. and with Rand Paul on Monday.
Okay. And I hope those two are okay.
So far, so good.
So if they're okay, then I think that, we're probably in the clear, and she truly did have some sort of an allergic reaction to whatever it might be. But that's scary.
Yeah, it sure is.
CNN, I don't know why this is breaking news, but they do say that President Trump is considering utilizing those bunker buster bombs.
The mother of all bunker busters. That's what they call it.
That's like Moab.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that what we're considering using?
Yeah. It all comes down to the bunker buster, Joan, because Israel's got everything else. Well, this goes back to what we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
And then I want to get to some amazing audio from Arnold Schwarzenegger. But it all goes back to what we talked about yesterday, which is it all comes down to the bunker busters. You've got that underground nuclear facility that Israel cannot reach. And so Israel cannot reach it. We seem to believe that we can reach it. Some people are saying we can. Others are saying that we can't. But Israel came out and they said, we've got other ways to reach that deep underground nuclear facility. And so I said, well, then why don't you do it? I mean, if you have the ability, then why don't you go ahead and do it? So now the breaking news is that Trump is considering using these bunker busters, which, of course, that would mean that we are directly involved in this battle with Israel. But if that's the only thing that we do, okay, because that is related to trying to get rid of their nuclear capabilities. So we'll have to see what happens. Hey, do you want to hear some great audio? Well, let me do this first. And we did touch on this last night at the event. How crazy is it now that for the Democrats, part of their official, what would you call it, campaigns? Part of their official campaign
Go and show me the judicial warrant. Where is it?
Is getting arrested. You see this story?
I did.
New York City mayoral candidate Brad Lander has now, of course, gone out, a la Alex Padilla, the senator, and been arrested. They're hauling him off in handcuffs, and he's like, I have a right to be here. I have a right to see this. And
all I was doing was holding this man's arm and asking to see a warrant.
I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see this.
All the cameras.
That I was doing.
This is so stupidly predictable. So stupidly predictable. I think, and by the way,
by the way, this guy Brad Lander was like a nobody in the mayoral candidates. A nobody.
Do you think that
until now?
Do you think that the people running against him are like, damn it, why didn't we get arrested?
I do think that.
All across America, Democrats are trying to figure out how they can get arrested.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy that this is now part of their official plan, their campaign plan to be elected is to get arrested. It is absolutely insane.
So do you think we'll go see this guy now approach the cameras and start crying because the handcuffs were too tight?
Is that what Padilla did?
Yes. Yesterday. You didn't hear this audio?
I didn't have that audio.
So, yeah, he said, crying. He said, first they had me on my knees, and then I was flat on my chest.
Did he really?
Yes.
They put him down pretty gently, if I remember. It wasn't that forced. It wasn't a tackle.
It doesn't matter. The man rushed at Kristi Noem. He deserved to be tackled and arrested.
I think I got it. I think I've got this audio.
Have it?
Alex Padilla, he seems like a little bit of a Nancy boy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, people have called me a Nancy boy. I'm nowhere near this.
You've seen the video. I was pushed and pulled, struggled to maintain my balance.
You know what's funny? That sounds like your average day at Bonnaroo. Right?
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
I was at the Vans Warped Tour. That is exactly what happened to me.
I was forced to the ground. First on my knees.
Oh, my goodness.
And then flat on my chest.
Chest.
My chest.
My chest.
And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why.
Oh, he knew exactly why.
Oh, yeah, he does.
He knew exactly why. Because it was all part of the plan.
This is performative politics. That's all this is. Nobody knew his name before this either.
Yeah, they didn't know his name when he was storming the podium where Kristi Noem was, and he intentionally took off his senatorial pin thing there to identify him as a senator. And by the way, they ought to throw the book at this dude. They ought to whatever charges you could throw at Alex Padilla, they should throw at him because no one is above the law. But of course, you know what, Joan? I can hear people screaming at the radio right now. Why would you do that? Why would you throw the book at him? Because that only makes him more of a hero to the left.
Yes.
You know what's so funny? Joan, I have been doing this so long, I can actually hear people yelling at me through the radio.
Yes.
Let me see if I can find this. I've got so many different windows open. Did you see Arnold Schwarzenegger on The View?
I didn't see it. Now, I knew that he was on The View, but I didn't hear any of the audio, so this should be fun to listen to for the first time.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger was on The View, and you know how the View operates. The View operates where they like to get people in, and they like to, get people that agree with them, that are going to, basically, say things that they agree with. And so, it's all nothing but Republicans. Republicans are bad. Conservatives are bad. Orange man bad, and so forth. Well, the former California governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was on The View, and this was a question posed to him regarding, of course, what's going on with illegal immigration and ICE.
If you are an immigrant, you're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy that I was impressed by the American people like that.
And he was. And so he goes through this whole thing about how he loves being an American. It's the land of opportunity, how grateful he is to be here and that he was accepted. Joy Behar, of course, and the rest of the cacklers on The View, he then stuns them by talking about the greatness of being, wait for it, a legal
Oh, he said the word?
Oh, he did. He said the
right.
L word. He said legal citizen.
I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal. And those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can. Keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
Arnold, don't forget.
You know what? You can hear. I don't know if you heard it. He was so eloquent and so patriotic and so spot on, Joan, that I actually didn't want to interrupt it. But you can hear the cacklers on The View wanting to jump in.
Yes.
Oh, they tried to interrupt him the entire time.
Yeah, the entire time. The entire time, they're like, yeah, and you can hear the producers in their earpieces, you've got to shut him up. Shut him up. He's talking about conservative talking points. We can't have that on The View, right?
It's almost like he was a Republican governor. But again, he kind of lost his Republicanship a lot during COVID. Do you remember that?
No.
He said, screw your freedom when it came to COVID.
That's right. Yeah.
He kind of, now he's back up. He's kind of he's like a hill, just up and down, up and down.
Happy birthday, KGB.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
KGB.
The big 30.
The big 3-0.
Yeah. I already signed my AARP card.
It's all downhill from here now.
Yeah. I posted that, and a lot of people from like our listeners kept defending. It's like, it's not downhill. It's not.
Oh,
Trust
no,
me. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I know.
It is. Yeah, that's
Come
when
on,
I started losing.
30? Seriously, 30?
Listen, that's when I started losing my hair.
Well, I'm not losing my hair, but
Yes, you are. I see it from the back.
That's what I said, KGB.
no, she's messing with me. She's messing with me.
I'm not. I see your
I don't
scalp.
know. No, you see my scalp.
KGB
He's got the one that goes in the back.
Okay, hey, Joan, watch it. Hey, Joan, watch this.
All right.
KGB, is your camera on?
Yeah.
I need you to take your headphones off and
Are we
show
doing
the
this?
camera.
Turn around, yeah.
And show the
Come on,
camera
do it,
the
do
back
it.
of your
All
head,
right.
the bald spot that Joan says is there.
Okay, I have not seen this, so we're going to give this a shot. Hold on.
All right.
Let's see. I want to.
I'm going to tell you how to move, so go ahead. Now tilt your head back a little bit.
Oh, my goodness.
See it? Do you see it?
Oh, I see. I see a little bald spot.
It's there.
Yep.
You're going to be
Little
one of
bit of bald
those guys. That's where it's going to start. So you'll be
Is it-
like my dad and like President Trump, where you have a little bit of hair over here and you'll go right
Yep.
over the top.
KGB's going bald.
You guys are the reason I'm single and going to therapy.
No, it's because you have this job.
Not true. Well, I mean, the hostile work environment clearly pointing
Good
out
Lord, man. Okay, so I want to go through the last 10 seconds. KGB is going bald. He's in therapy. And he's claiming that this is a hostile. That in like 10 seconds time, Joan.
Yeah.
To be fair, people, if like, especially for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, it's okay to be in therapy. That is not a sign of any weakness. Just pointing that out there. It's healthy to do that. Do not, and no one, because there was a post on X of a woman. This was actually, I posted this myself. Someone saying men's mental health doesn't matter, like in big letters, like multiple times, you know?
Yeah.
And I just posted like, this is a problem because men, like, it's okay for men to show that emotional
It is actually,
weakness.
in all seriousness, it is okay for men to show emotion.
Yeah.
It is okay for men to go to therapy. And I think that, you know, I've always thought this was funny how you have people that talk about, you know, what real men do.
Yeah.
I think real men show an array of emotions. And in my opinion, then I'm going to move on. But I think that real men are not afraid to show all colors of their feelings and their personality and what's going on with them. I mean, I would agree with you, KGB. Why are you going to therapy? I'm kidding. That was a joke.
I was about to say, I'm not gonna.
None of my business.
Not gonna say anything.
Listen, it's okay. I know you're in therapy because you're trying to figure out how to work with Joan Jones. I totally understand that.
Because it's so difficult.
I mean, she did call out a bald spot that I didn't realize existed. So that's a
You know
whole
what,
other
though?
ballgame.
I think thank you would be appropriate here.
Is that a thank
That's
you?
exactly right. You know what you
Is
need
that-
to do, though? Learn from the best. Learn from Donald Trump the art of the comb-over.
Yes.
He did the art of the deal
I'm not
and the
balding
art
on
of
the top of my
comb-over.
hair. It's only in the back. We're fine. We're fine.
Hey, you know what, KGB? It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before you start looking like me.
Episode of 24, just me balding each scene.
Let me tell you something. It happens incredibly quickly. All right, we have got to go. It's 5:56, Joan.
Coming up here at 6 o'clock, another President Trump executive order gets knocked down by a judge, and we'll tell you which Tennessee lawmaker is slapping down Elon Musk. That's coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Israel's foreign minister accusing Iran today of targeting civilian populations, saying Tehran is making a mistake by striking areas without military targets. He says also no negotiations with Iran. A federal judge in Massachusetts blocking the State Department from enforcing President Trump's executive order that requires Americans to reveal their true gender on new passports. That reversed the Biden policy that allowed Americans to change their gender or even choose X for anyone who doesn't consider themselves male or female. On the illegal crossings front, there is good news this morning.
The White House now touting a massive drop in border encounters. Customs and Border Patrol recorded more than 12,000 last month along the southwest border. The number represents an 80% drop from the start of the year. The Border Patrol also says no undocumented immigrants were released into the U.S. at the border last month.
That's ABC's Lionel Moisey. A former Franklin soccer coach has pleaded guilty to charges that he drugged and raped several young boys. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
Camilo Campos Hurtado here pleaded guilty to charges including exploitation of a minor and possessing fraudulent immigration documents. Campos will be sentenced in October. He faces a minimum of 15 years in prison.
The victims were as young as 9 years old. Elon Musk wants to build a tunnel to link downtown Nashville to the airport. It's a project that's been in the first stages of talks for several months. But one Democrat state lawmaker is doing everything she can to prevent it.
Elon Musk is an absolute grifter and scammer, and he has ongoing deals and pitches to cities across the country in which those promises have been unfulfilled.
She has started a petition, that's Afton Bain, by the way. She started a petition to block that project. She wants lawmakers to focus instead on fixing state roads, increasing mass transit, and fast-tracking a light rail system. Market numbers
brought to you by the same people that refused to accept the RNC a couple of years ago.
That's right. That's exactly who we're talking about.
Bunch of knuckleheads, man.
Yeah. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
We're not shopping as much as we used to. The Commerce Department says retail sales in May slid more than expected, down nearly 1%, largely weighed down by a decline in car and truck sales. Furniture stores, though, had a good month. The roller coaster stock market stopped on the downslope Tuesday, with the Dow Jones losing 300 points to close at 42,216. The S&P and NASDAQ composite each gave up about 0.9%. Shares in Nintendo hit new highs overnight, riding a rally fueled by the hype surrounding the release of the Switch 2 console, the follow-up to the device launched in 2017. Shares in the Japanese gaming company have soared 46% this year. Some of the world's biggest food companies plan to stop using artificial dyes. General Mills and Kraft Heinz say they intend to phase out the additives by the end of 2027. General Mills says the dyes will be gone from food it sells to schools by next summer. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stock futures dropping a bit here. They're virtually unchanged at this point. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There was a problem at Long Hunter State Park this morning. Now, the traffic center is telling us that it's a crash at Hobson Pike near Couchville Road. But one of our listeners is texting this morning that that's actually a tree that's down in the roadway, and that's why it's taken so long to get it out of there. Either way, it's in the roadway, and it's going to cause some delays this morning in finding a way to get around it. And you also, this morning, so far, don't have any real delays heading in on 2440 or on 65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up, I have got some great audio. Of course, everybody is either really, really rooting for Tucker Carlson or they're really, really rooting against him. Joan, have you heard the audio of Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz going at it? It is all over the interwebs this morning, and I've got that audio for you straight ahead. There is, this is kind of played out here on WTN as well, where the MAGA movement is really, really divided between, President Trump and should he, go in militarily in support of Israel? Should we participate in regime change or should we not? And you have Tucker Carlson saying, absolutely not. We should not participate in regime change. We should not participate militarily. A lot of people, including President Trump, dismissing what Tucker Carlson has to say. Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson, and they've oftentimes been aligned perfectly on a lot of issues. On this one, there is serious disagreement. And I've got some great audio of Cruz and Tucker Carlson. They're talking during, I guess it's Tucker's web show, and I've got that audio coming up. But first, of course, the breaking news. CNN, Fox News, everybody is reporting that President Trump is considering utilizing that bunker buster to get to that underground nuclear facility that Iran has. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of words going back and forth. Iran is saying that tonight a great surprise is going to occur. Now in Iran, you've got, they say tonight, which is going to be it's probably about 2 o'clock right now in the afternoon in Iran. And by the way, bombs have been going back and forth, and Iran continues to target residential areas in Israel. Israel continues to target military and nuclear facilities and also Iran's leadership. So Iran is saying a great surprise is going to occur tonight. So if you have to, scurry your way to work or whatever, be sure to listen to, obviously Chris Hand. But, all that is going to perhaps occur when Chad Benson or Matt Murphy is on the air. Israel, by the way, is saying that if you thought that the pager attack against Hamas was incredible, just wait. And Donald Trump sending a message to the supreme leader of Iran that we'll let you live for now, but you've got 48 hours to surrender. And the headline from this morning, this was pulled from the Daily Mail. Trump has given Iran's ruling cleric 48 hours to give themselves up. U.S. officials have indicated that Iran has 24 to 48 hours to surrender and save itself from an American military onslaught as President Trump considers joining Israel's war. And so they, according to the New York Times and other sources, the president has now been given 3 options by his advisors. One of the things they say, according to the New York Times, is that One option is to simply assist Israel in their bombing campaign against Iran's nuclear threat by providing intel and that kind of a thing. They also talk about another option, which is American and Israeli forces joining on strikes against Iran. And they say the most hawkish option provided a plan for a U.S.-led, again, U.S.-led military campaign that includes B-1 and B-2 bombers, aircraft carriers, and cruise missiles as well, launched from submarines, according to the New York Times. So you've got a U.S.-led military campaign. You've got a joint campaign, American and Israeli forces striking against Iran. And they also have the other option, which is the U.S. providing intelligence and jets for refueling Israeli airplanes on bombing missions as well. So those are, according to the New York Times and the Daily Mail, those are the three options that have been presented to President Donald Trump as he is considering what to do. A lot of people pointing out that whatever the president does, he is going to anger roughly half of his base. We can all, I believe we can all agree that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. Watch us on YouTube, watch us on X, watch us on 997WTN.com. Now, we do a poll every single day. Today's poll, and KGB, if you could pull it up on YouTube, watch us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you could. That'd be really nice for the ego of the host. What is the current question that we have on the table?
Right now, it's what do you predict Trump will do with the Israel-Iran conflict? Will respond with military action or only aid Israel versus Iran? And right now, 64% saying he's only going to aid Israel, not do military action.
Okay, we'll have to see what happens. There was, and so I'm keeping you abreast of all of the headlines. They continue to roll in the last couple of days throughout the morning. So that is where we are. By the way, I'm also going to, before the bottom of the hour, I'm also going to read you parts of a great X post by none other than J.D. Vance. So we're going to talk about that as well here on WTN, because he does give some great perspective, as J.D. Vance always does, on this whole thing. So J.D. Vance, of course, the vice president, is doing all he can to support Donald Trump. So there's some audio of Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, and they're going back and forth on exactly what is going on in Iran and also the options that President Trump has. And so Trump called Tucker Carlson kooky, Tucker Carlson, yesterday. It's kind of long audio, so what I'm going to do, KGB, I want to take the traffic report now, and then I'm going to play the audio coming back. The super text line is open, very active this morning. Thank you. 615-737-9986. It is time to check the roads on WTN.
Construction delays. Long Hunter State Park, Hobson Pike, we've got an accident near Couchville Pike being cleared. No problems on 40 or 65. No unusual delays on 440. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Weather today, a high of 90, scattered thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So I don't know exactly where Ted Cruz falls on this whole thing. Tucker sounds like Cruz is calling for the Texas senator. Tucker makes it seem like Ted Cruz is looking for regime change, right up there with Lindsey Graham. I don't know to what extent Cruz is calling for, troops on the ground, airplanes in the air and all that against Iran. But this was last night. This is, I guess, when they taped it, and Tucker has released this little promo video where it seems like Tucker tried to do a gotcha of Ted Cruz. Listen to this.
By the way, I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people living around? 92 million. Okay. Yeah. How could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's, it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about the country. What's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
What percent?
predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even. You don't know anything about Iran. So
Okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one
you
who
don't know
claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out
I'm
if it was a
saying
good
you
idea
don't
to kill
believe-
General Soleimani, and you said it was
don't
bad.
believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe
we're
that,
carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
So did you hear what happened right there? So Cruz said something to the effect of, we are going after or attacking Iran, and Tucker takes that to mean we, as in America, is involved in the actual attack on Iran, and Cruz is trying to say, no, that's not what I said. We are supporting Israel as they attack Iran. And so it seems like, Tucker feels like he's trying to split hairs a little bit. And clearly, and I'm going to rewind this a little bit so that you can hear that again, because it does seem like Tucker is trying to split hairs just a little bit.
Believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe
we're
that,
carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not
at all.
bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
This is
Israel.
high stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay. All right, so I don't know, Joan. Is Tucker being nitpicky on this?
I think he is.
So he asked, I don't know, is that a gotcha question? Ted
Yes.
Cruz, how many people live in Iran? 92 million. What is the ethnic makeup of Iran? You've got, by the way, I did look this up. You've got obviously a bunch of Persians, Azerbaijanis, Kurds, a bunch of other ethnicities in there as well. Ted Cruz is focused, as many people are, on whether or not they have a nuclear weapon, whether or not they are on the road to a nuclear weapon. And so I think Tucker, it feels like he is trying to have a bit of a gotcha moment here with Ted Cruz. And by the way, I'm a fan of both of these guys. So, but you think that seemed like some gotcha questions,
Oh,
Joan?
yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ted Cruz is right. Why would he go around, memorizing population tables?
Yeah. Well, and when Cruz said, we are attacking Iran, he clearly meant, everybody knows what Ted Cruz meant. My bigger issue with what Tucker did is when Cruz said, we are attacking Iran, he clearly meant that we are supporting Israel as they are doing what they're doing in what I would say is self-defense, because Iran is working towards a nuclear weapon. And so I understand what Ted Cruz meant, and I think that Tucker is being intentionally provocative. So, and then, by the way, Ted Cruz, he tweeted this out. He said, did a long interview with Tucker Carlson. He released a snippet playing a gotcha on the population of Iran. I declined to play that silly game. He says, watch the full 2-hour interview where Tucker attacks Trump, attacks the AIPAC lobby, and he puts that in air quotes, and falsely claims Iran is not trying to assassinate Donald Trump. Iran has come out and literally said that they want to assassinate Donald Trump, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that is a thing. So you've got all of that going on, and I, for one, am going to try to watch the entire 2-hour interview. But I think that if that little, I don't know, what it was, that minute, 37-second clip is any indication, it's going to be really good. So, and I would be interested to see what the folks on the super text line say. If you felt like Tucker was kind of being a little gotcha there, and a little poking the bear a little bit, and trying to be sort of, what's the term that I used, Joan? Where Tucker's he's trying to be a little nitpicky on some of the wording here.
Yeah.
So, look at what 4872 says. Tucker is a blanker.
A blanker.
F-bomber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And let's see here. 9398 says, I think Tucker Carlson is being precious about Iran because of the way America pulled out of Afghanistan and their presence in Ukraine. And look what might happen to Taiwan. So we haven't handled leaving countries or going into countries very well in the past. Trump should not continue that bad habit. And see, I do agree on that. I mean, I don't believe that we should. I've said this a million times. I'm tired of saying it. I'm not into the regime change thing. I think we can do just enough damage to Iran with sanctions and also taking out their leadership and everything else with letting Israel do all of the hard work and letting Israel do what they got to do. And you can just sit back and make sure that no one else gets involved. Israel, you do your thing, and Israel militarily can do the hard work for us to make sure that Iran does not get a nuclear weapon. Now, the big question, of course, as we've all been talking about, is the bunker buster. And the breaking news this morning, although it doesn't seem to be breaking news, is Donald Trump is considering utilizing that bunker buster to get to that underground nuclear facility. Coming up, I will cover what J.D. Vance, the Vice President J.D. Vance, had to say about Donald Trump and this conversation regarding a nuclearized Iran. All of that and a whole lot more straight ahead. Sorry about that. 622, Joan Jones has the news. Joan.
Yeah, exploring more about whether President Trump may be considering using the bunker buster, and also why the celebrations for Juneteenth are being scaled back around the country. Those stories coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$623, Dan Mandis here. Listen, if you're a business owner and your floors, you walk into your business and your floors, they're scuffed up. They look terrible. Well, that is a reflection on your business. Enter my friends at Specialty Coatings. Listen, if your concrete floors need a little love, my friends at Specialty Coatings, they can help you. Now, they specialize in concrete floor coatings and polished concrete. They've been doing this for 30 years. Now, you've probably walked on some of their incredible concrete floor coatings all across Middle Tennessee and the entire state. They've done work in all the major sports stadiums, the arenas, and the convention centers as well. Just last year, Specialty Coatings in Nashville, they installed over 1 million square feet of coatings for businesses across Tennessee. Now, those buildings also include manufacturing, warehouses, airplane hangars, retail, and so much more. Specialty Coatings isn't some fly-by-night company. A couple of guys, show up with a bucket and a couple of rollers. Specialty Coatings, they've got the equipment and the skilled installers, so your job is going to be on time and on budget. No matter how bad your floor looks, Specialty Coatings, they can fix it, and each project is customized to your building and your business and your needs. So call them at 615-591-9491, 615-591-9491. You can also email them, sales@specialtycoat.com, sales@specialtycoat.com, the website, specialtycoat.com. Dan Mandis here, 625. I want to tell you about my friends at the Low T Center. Listen, if you are over 40, KGB, this is going to be you in 10 years. KGB just turned 30.
Oh, God.
Guys, if you're over 40 and you're running low on energy, maybe you're just feeling off, lowtcenter.com is where you need to go. Get started with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, and join lots of guys who are going through the same thing as you. Now, with Low T Center, they've got clinics all over Nashville, and they're really easy to get to. You walk in, you see a real medical provider, you get that energy back. No complicated process, just results. And remember, these treatment plans are tailor-made just for you. Now, you can get treatments at the clinic or you can be treated at home, but either way, you're always going to get the highest quality of care. Now, right now, you can get a free consultation, and if you qualify, treatment is covered by most major medical insurance. So reclaim that energy and become you again. By the way, they can also help with prescription weight loss options as well. So head on over to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment today. That is lowtcenter.com. Simple, quick, and totally worth it. .629, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I asked folks to chime in on what they thought of the Tucker Carlson-Ted Cruz conversation. I thought that Tucker was being quite literal, and he was being argumentative and provocative with the senator from the state of Texas. Most people agreed with me. 1219 says, I love both you guys. I'm assuming talking about me and Joan. I'm sure he loves you too, KGB. He says, libertarians, I consider myself a heavily leaning libertarian conservative, can be nitpicky sometimes. Yes, though. He says, I think Tucker was being a bit provocative. And so it looks like most people agree with me that Tucker was being a little nitpicky, provocative, and argumentative. I got to tell you, though, one of my favorite pieces from today's storyline regarding Iran and Israel and America is what J.D. Vance had to say on X, and that is coming up next on WTN.
Good morning. It's now 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Is President Trump considering getting the U.S. involved in Israel's war with Iran? Well, some, including former State Department official Steve Ganyard, says yes.
There's obviously lots of intelligence going on in the background that we don't know, and it's probably best that the public doesn't know because the president, at least arguably, does not want to go to war. And he ran on not going to war and getting us out of the forever wars. And so he probably really doesn't want to do this. But given his tone and the kinds of things that he's saying now, he has obviously been convinced that the Iranians have been stalling and that they would never willingly give up that nuclear capability.
And he says as well that the U.S. is the only country with the bunker buster bomb that could penetrate Iran's Fordo facility. Metro Council did it. They have adopted a budget. This one is a $9 million alternative to Mayor Freddie O'Connell's original proposal. The budget chair, Delicia Porterfield, says this one focuses on strategic spending. Those are her words. It gives city employees a 2% pay hike and more.
We're able to put money for maternal health to make sure that we get doulas with our Safe Babies program. I was able to get money in for NASA to help with after-school programming, as well as the Oasis Center, which addresses unhoused youth and teens.
And she also says it does not raise taxes, but the tax rate is now at $2.81 per $100 of assessed value. Now, that rate is down from previous years, but it doesn't offset the continuing spike in property values. CNN is reporting that celebrations across the country for Juneteenth are being scaled back or canceled. Organizers saying there's a mounting resistance to DEI initiatives, and it makes it harder to hold the events. Also, federal funds have been pulled back. Juneteenth is a federal holiday that commemorates the effective end of slavery in the U.S. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mendes here. Thank you, Joan. 632. Listen, friends, if you are maxed out on credit cards, if you're struggling with high interest debt, you could pay it all off in days. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get cash out right now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, and as they like to say, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. Now, one Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, they renovated their kitchen, and they cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. Now, that is a huge turnaround. You can do the same thing. Listen, Loan Pronto, you know what they do? They give you instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. So you want to call them and check it out, 615-499-5780. Find out how Loan Pronto can help you. You get free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. 615-499-5780. Get debt relief right now, loanpronto.com, equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781, unapproved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Dan Mendes here, 634, and I got to tell you something. Vision for Life. You know, they're celebrating 20 years of 2020. Since 2005, Dr. Jeff Horn has provided thousands of patients 20/20 or better vision. Dr. Horn's expertise and dedication have made him a leader in cataract, LASIK, and other vision correction surgeries. Dr. Horn's commitment to providing the best possible patient experience, in addition to the most advanced technologies in vision correction, has made Vision for Life one of the premier vision correction centers in the world. So check them out. This is where I went to go for my vision correction surgery. This is a great doctor and a great company, Vision for Life. Find them online at visionforlife.com, 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020, visionforlife.com.
Creve Hall, there is a stalled out car on 65 in the northbound lanes before the Hogan Road overpass. It's in the left shoulder, though. That shoulder is blocked off. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and also 99.7 WTN.com, and also X. And we've got a lot of news working this morning. We're keeping you up to speed on everything that is going on. The screaming headline from CNN, sources saying Donald Trump considering U.S. military strikes on Iran. Although to me that isn't really breaking news, is it, Joan? I mean, haven't we all known this has been going on for quite some time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that the formula for CNN?
Yes.
There's always a screaming headline.
Always a screaming headline. I liked what J.D. Vance had. Have you read this post by J.D. Vance?
Maybe not. I don't know.
I love this post. So, and he made this, I think it was this morning, maybe last night. But I'm just going to read snippets because it is long. You can find the whole thing on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. Follow me on X if you would, please. He says, first, POTUS has been amazingly consistent over 10 years that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Over the last few months, he encouraged his foreign policy team to reach a deal with the Iranians to accomplish this goal. The president has made clear that Iran cannot have uranium enrichment, and he has said repeatedly that this would happen one of two ways, the easy way or the other way. Second, J.D. Vance writes, I've seen a lot of confusion over the issue of civilian nuclear power and uranium enrichment. And he's got both in quotes. These are distinct issues. Iran could have civilian nuclear power without enrichment, but Iran rejected that. Meanwhile, they've enriched uranium far above the level necessary for any civilian purpose. They've been found in violation of their non-proliferation obligations by the International Atomic Energy Agency, he says, which is hardly a right-wing organization. And both of those are true. I've been covering this for quite some time now. They're not building, Iran is not building any trust. You simply, and my biggest thing, and this is my problem with Trump trying to negotiate with these folks, is you cannot trust Iran. Back to J.D. Vance. He says it's one thing to want civilian nuclear energy. It's another thing to demand sophisticated enrichment capacity. And it's still another to cling to enrichment while simultaneously violating basic non-proliferation obligations and enriching right to the point of weapons-grade uranium. Now, remember that Iran right now, this is me talking, Iran right now has enriched to 60% purity. You need 90% for a nuke. So there's other things, by the way, that they need to do as well to make it into a weapon. But they are well on their way. And that's why people like Donald Trump are freaking out. So I looked all this up. Enriched uranium has various levels of enrichment, obviously. Do you know how much you need for civilian power? 3 to 5%. 20% for research facilities. You know where Iran's at? 60%. So Iran is always saying, oh, we just want it for civilian power. Oh, we just want it for research facilities or whatever it might be. Well, the most they need is 20%. Well, they're at 60%. And they're not cooperating with inspections. So I totally get why Trump is like, you know what? And Israel is like, you know what? We need to take action, and we need to take action now. I understand the need to get Iran out of the nuclear weapon business. J.D. Vance continues, I have yet to see a single good argument for why Iran needed to enrich uranium well above the threshold for civilian use. He says, I've yet to see a single good argument for why Iran was justified in violating its non-proliferation obligations. I've yet to see a single good pushback against the findings of the IAEA. Meanwhile, he says the president has shown, and he has, by the way, and Joan, you and I talked about this. Meanwhile, the president has shown remarkable restraint in keeping our military's focus on protecting our troops and protecting our citizens. He may decide he needs to take further action to end Iranian enrichment. That decision ultimately belongs to the president, and of course, people are right to be worried about foreign entanglement after the last 25 years of idiotic foreign policy. J.D. Vance wraps it up by saying this, but I believe the president has earned some trust on this issue. And having seen this up close and personal, I can assure you that he is only interested in using the American military to accomplish the American people's goals. Whatever he does, that is his focus. And so I think that J.D. Vance, he lays it out really well. And that, by and large, is what Donald Trump is doing. So we'll have to see where this whole thing goes. You know, about every half hour, I'm kind of resetting the topic and resetting, basically the main headlines. Screaming headlines from this morning. Trump is giving Iran's ruling clerics 48 hours to give themselves up. U.S. officials have indicated that Iran has 24 to 48 hours to surrender and save itself from an American military onslaught as President Trump considers joining Israel's war. White House officials saying the next 2 days will be critical in determining whether Washington and Tehran can find a diplomatic solution to the escalating crisis in the Middle East. Earlier yesterday, Trump posted on Truth Social that he knew where Iran's supreme leader is hiding, but would not yet launch a strike. But then he added unconditional surrender. Basically, Trump is saying, I know where you are, and I'm going to let you live for now. By the way, the Iranians are also posting the stuff that Iran always posts about the Zionists and showing us no mercy, photographs of, large fireballs and so forth. So things definitely are escalating and escalating at a very quick pace, which is why everyone is talking about this. One of the things I thought was interesting in all of this is how Trump has been really, really consistent over the years. The media, and we did speak about this earlier, the media is always talking about how Donald Trump was going to tweet us into World War III. But here's the deal. If you paid attention to what Donald Trump was saying, he was saying this.
I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and we won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry that has absolutely no concept of negotiation, who's making a horrible and laughable deal, who's just being tapped along as they make weapons right now.
Yeah, and there's also this moment during a debate. This was one of many moments where Jeb Bush, you remember this? Where Jeb Bush was absolutely decimated by Donald Trump.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right. Governor Bush.
And so, Jeb Bush, he had nowhere to go with that. And so when J.D. Vance says that he believes that Donald Trump has earned the trust of the American people, and we spoke about this last night at our event, I believe that J.D. Vance is right. I think that Trump has been right about a lot of things when it comes to foreign policy. And so I think that Trump, he's got this. And so we'll continue to monitor the situation as it continues to develop. It is 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today, looks like a high of 90 degrees, scattered thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. By the way, there is other stuff going on. See this headline? Blue-collar wage growth under Donald Trump has seen the largest increase in nearly 60 years. Now, we got to make sure that the victories don't go unnoticed or don't go uncovered. This was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and he was speaking with Miranda Devine.
And you've got some other good news, haven't you, about blue-collar wage growth?
Blue-collar wage growth, the only other time it's been this high, wait for it, was during President Trump's first term. So we've seen real wages for hourly workers, non-supervisory workers, rise almost 2% in the first 5 months.
Why is that?
No president has done that before.
And why is that?
It's the president's emphasis on manufacturing.
Yep.
I think there's also likely a component of whether it's 12 or 20 million illegal aliens coming out of the workforce.
Yep.
And Joe Biden opened the border and it was flooded. And that for working Americans, that's a disaster because it's pressure on their wages.
I'll never forget, it was here in Nashville, and we're talking about illegal immigration. This was back when I was in middays. And guy called up, and I was talking about all of this. And one of the things that I mentioned was that all of this illegal immigration, it depresses the wages of American workers. Because if you work, for example, on like a construction site, and you're a really good carpenter, and you're an American, well, here come all of these illegal aliens that are willing to do, you know, the same job, essentially, but for half the money and working under the table. Well, then what does that do to your wages? What does that do to your job? It suppresses or depresses your wages because they're willing to do the same job for half the money, which means that you, if you want that gig, then you've got to agree to do it for less. And so guy called up and he talked about all of that and how he had lost like $50,000 over the last many years with all of this illegal immigration happening. So what Scott Bessent is saying, and it's obviously a great point, what he's saying is that with all of these illegal aliens leaving, over 1 million, by the way, voluntarily deporting, that was a big story yesterday or in the previous couple of days. Again, a big thing that should not go unnoticed and uncovered. Over 1 million illegal aliens, according to President Trump, have self-deported for the $1,000. I think that's great news. And nobody thought that that would be as successful of a campaign as it was. So between illegal aliens self-deporting, between the deportations, and of course, you know, some of these guys just afraid to show up for work, blue-collar workers are now seeing that real wage growth. This is the story from the New York Post. Blue-collar workers have seen real wage growth of almost 2% in the first 5 months of President Donald Trump's second term. That is the largest increase for any administration in nearly 60 years. And they all told us that our economy was going to go to hell in a handbasket as Donald Trump was taking the oath of office for a second time. Remember all that. Remember the people that lied to you, my friends. And don't ever take them seriously again. The 1.7% pay bump is in stark contrast to negative growth under Joe Biden, according to new data from the U.S. Department of Treasury. They say since Richard Nixon in 1969, Donald Trump has been the only president to record positive growth for blue-collar workers in the first 5 months. He also achieved 1.3% in his first term. Now, again, I'm going to point out a couple of things. Number one, yeah, this is for blue-collar workers. Remember the left and the media. They're always trying to tell you, oh, Donald Trump is only in it for the one percenters. Remember that? Remember that talking point that they over and over again repeated where, and I will say not only with no evidence, but with clear evidence that Donald Trump, between, his policies, his tax policies, have helped everyone across the board. 615-737-9986. The super text line is open. Very active today again. Thank you. Helps the host's very fragile ego, Joan, when we got a lot of people texting in their comments.
So, of course, everybody needs to do it for your fragile ego.
That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Please help us all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joan Jones, have I told you lately, Joan, how much I love working with you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you have.
Anyway, moving right along. Joan, what's coming up at 7?
Yeah, we've got the latest on what Iran is saying this morning about its centrifuges. That's coming up here next at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
WTN 6:52, Dan here. My upstairs bathtub, it does. It has. I'm going to, one of these days, probably very soon, I will go ahead and post the holes in my bathtub because it's really ugly and it does need a lot of work. Enter my friends at Zintex. If you've got a bathtub that needs work, it needs a lot of love, well, Zintex, they have been in business since 2001. They are here to help you. They're really redefining bathtubs. I mean, you can remodel your shower. You can remodel your bathtub. You can even convert your bathtub into a walk-in shower with Zintex. Now, these type of home improvements, remember, it can increase the value of your home, and Zintex, they can have it wrapped up in a day. No big mess either. Zintex is an award-winning company that offers limited lifetime warranties for both their products and installation. Now, you can make your bathroom safer with a walk-in shower complete with grab bars and a bench seat for the older folks. This is a great way to help the older folks in your life who need that assist and support. So fix, remodel, or convert your tub into a shower today with Zintex. That phone number, always tell them Dan told you to reach out, 629-258-7747, 629-258-7747. They've got a great deal right now for listeners to my show. You mentioned me and WTN, you get $1,750 off or no interest for 24 months, whichever works best for you. And also, payments? No payments for 2 years. Zintex, Zintex.com. All right, so Joan,
Yes.
I just want to let people know, if you didn't get a chance to, get that second cup of coffee or whatever this morning, and so you're not nearly as fired up and awake as you need to be.
Oh, boy.
I've got the solution.
What is it?
Ilhan Omar.
To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights.
See, that'll wake you up.
Oh, yeah.
Ilhan Omar calling.
I'd rather have the 60 Minutes clock.
Ilhan Omar calling America one of the worst countries. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, and she's obviously talking about the law enforcement presence in cities all across America, as her party, the Democrat Party, was, doing all they could to fan the flames and trying to, get riots going and so forth. And so, for Ilhan Omar, she says these kinds of things. And as frustrating as it is to, all of us who are great, patriots and we love America, the people that voted for her and the Democrat Party, man, they just eat that stuff up. And that's why they're losing.
Yes.
That is why they're losing.
Again, prefer 60 Minutes clock. That ticking is like, I don't know, Creed compared to that.
Well, maybe we'll bring that back from the 5 o'clock hour. Just for you, KGB, just for a birthday present.
Like we just compare which is worse, her talking, the 60 Minutes clock, carsforkids.com's ad. I mean, we'll do it all.
Okay, very good. But we won't do that coming up in the next hour. We have a lot going on, including some polling that shows that, yes, in case you didn't know, Republicans are really, really divided on this issue of whether or not to get involved militarily with Israel as they go after Iran. We've got that story and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We do have some rain expected today, perhaps some severe thunderstorms. Stick around right after the news. We'll cover that for you. Iran is warning that it will respond if the U.S. gets involved in its conflict with Israel. Meantime, Israel says that Iran has crossed every red line, and it accuses Iran of using diplomacy as a stalling tactic to buy time to advance its nuclear program. Meantime, Israel's IDF has announced that it has hit a centrifuge production site in Tehran as it works to neutralize all elements, they say, of Iran's nuclear threats.
The New York Times reports Iran is preparing missiles for potential retaliatory attacks on U.S. bases. In the meantime, Iran firing more ballistic missiles at Israel overnight. Iran's missile stockpile may be dwindling. Some analysts estimate Tehran may have fewer than 1,000 medium-range missiles left. And Israel now says it's neutralized 1/3 of Iran's missile launchers.
That's ABC's Perry Russum. Israel said this morning that a flight landed at the country's main international airport. On it, Israeli passengers from Cyprus who have been trapped abroad since the assault on Iran began. More than 100,000 Israelis have been trying to get home since the skies closed after the start of the campaign. Locally, Metro Council voted to increase taxes as it passed their operating budget for fiscal year 2026. It is a $3.8 billion budget that includes a hike in property taxes. The new tax rate is $2.81 for every $100 of assessed value. Now, some people who attended last night's council meeting, they weren't happy about it.
I would encourage Metro Council members to pay attention to their constituents who have been yelling at them no on property tax increases. We're going to remember tonight's vote in 2 years.
City employees get a 2% raise in this budget. The Florida Panthers did it again. They beat the Oilers 5-1 last night to win the Stanley Cup, the first team to repeat by beating the same team both years. since the Canadiens beat the Bruins in 1977 and 78. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. The Federal Reserve will announce its rate decision at 1 p.m. Central Time today. Now, the central bank is widely expected to hold rates steady, but investors are keeping a close eye on what Fed Chair Jerome Powell has to say after the announcement of the rate decision. The Dow futures right now plus 66, NASDAQ futures are up 62, and the S&P futures are gaining 12. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, in Cedar Hill on 24, the westbound lanes before Maxey Road, exit 19. Watch for a crash. Another one in Almaville on 840 westbound before Almaville Road. The crash is in the median. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Looks like, hey, can you check KGB if you could? Can you check Truth Social? A headline from CNN, Trump calls Iran's leader an easy target. So Trump, there's been a war of words this morning and last night. I'm trying to keep you updated on everything that is going on. And yeah, there has been a war of words going on. Iran has been saying tonight a great surprise will occur. Israel is saying that if you thought that the Patriot attacks against Hamas were incredible, just wait. And Donald Trump sending a message to the supreme leader of Iran that we will let you live for now, but you've got 48 hours to surrender. And now CNN is reporting that Trump is saying that the supreme leader for Iran is an easy target. Part of the conversation, of course, as you know, has been whether or not Trump should participate and if America should participate in regime change. By the way, big headline from this morning and the Daily Mail just an hour or so ago. Trump has given Iran's ruling clerics 48 hours to give themselves up. U.S. officials have indicated that Iran has 24 to 48 hours to surrender and save itself from an American military onslaught as President Trump is considering joining Israel's war. White House officials saying the next 2 days will be critical in determining whether Washington and Tehran can find a diplomatic solution to the ongoing and escalating crisis in the Middle East. And so, you know, I think for now we have a lot of people watching what is going on, and we'll have to see ultimately how this whole thing plays out. Trump, there's a war of words, and we spoke about this earlier. KGB, I need some audio. We're talking about this earlier, where part of what Trump is doing is, you know, a lot of this is staging. A lot of this could be bluster. A lot of this could be manipulation. A lot of this could be, you know, really Trump, because you know how the man works. You know how the man works, where he'll say, listen, you know, he'll say things that maybe he means, maybe he doesn't. That is why he is so effective, because you actually don't know what he's going to do or not do. He's incredibly unpredictable, and that's probably what Iran has, has Iran shaking in their shoes. By the way, the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Hosseini Khamenei, he is in hiding. But he is saying that, they'll strike. They'll keep the strikes coming against Israel, and they'll go after the Zionists of America as well. He added that we will show the Zionists no mercy, and on it goes. Meanwhile, Iranian state television ominously reporting that tonight a great surprise will occur, one that the world will remember for centuries. So I think we're all just kind of waiting to see, you know, what's going to happen next. Assuming since you haven't jumped in, KGB, that the president has not posted anything on Truth Social?
The last post was 6 hours ago saying, quote, great poll numbers for Trump.
No. All right.
So he's been...
Is there polling numbers out for the president?
I don't know. It just says, quote, great poll numbers for Trump, end quote.
Okay. Well, see if you can find those. By the way, the president, I've been telling you about this, Trump has been given 3 options by his advisors, according to the New York Times. Number 1, the first and most basic option was the U.S. providing intelligence and jets for refueling Israeli airplanes on bombing missions as Israel continues to go after Iran. The second option included American and Israeli joint strikes on Iran. And they say the third option, they say the most hawkish option, provided a plan for a U.S.-led military campaign that included B-1 and B-2 bombers, aircraft carriers, and cruise missiles launched from submarines, according to the New York Times. And so all of this is going on. And the news seems to, breaking news again, CNN, Trump warming to the idea of U.S. strikes on Iran. We'll have to see what happens. This is something that I think is going to be a story for, the next several days, weeks, or months, depending on ultimately what happens. There is other news. And if anything happens, Joan, if anything happens with Iran,
I will break right in.
You have my permission to break right in. Just like a couple of representatives in Chicago tried to break into an ICE facility yesterday.
You're an officer with ICE? You have a badge, you have an ID, can we see it? I don't have to show that to you. You don't have to show that.
So these guys working at the ICE facility, they basically just slammed the door in their faces. But this is what the Democrats are now trying to do. The Democrats are trying to, we keep using the same term, whether it was the No Kings protest over the weekend, whether it was Alex Padilla, we'll get to him in a second. But a lot of this is simply performative. Yesterday, you no doubt heard about the kerfuffle where a mayoral candidate in New York...
Let us see it.
All the cameras are there as Brad Lander is arrested. Was he actually arrested, Joan?
Yeah, I think he was.
He was actually arrested, and what he tried to do is he tried to shield an immigrant from ICE. Is that what he tried to do? These guys.
He was holding the. I'm sorry, I'm eating something. He was holding on to one of the immigrant's arms and demanding that ICE show the warrant for his arrest.
All right. So ICE then decided to take him in. And just so you know that I know, I've been talking about this for weeks now. This is what they want to do. This is what the Democrats want to do is literally as part of their political campaigns, they are trying to get arrested. How sad is this for the Democrats? It's really sad because this is all they have. And I don't know, Joan, have you seen any positive numbers for Donald Trump? He apparently posted 6 hours ago on Truth Social some great polling numbers for the president.
No, I have not seen that.
I have not seen that anywhere. I'll continue to look. By the way, we can crowdsource this. If you've seen said poll numbers for Donald Trump, send a note to the super text line. There is some numbers regarding how Americans feel about going into Iran, and I will share those with you here in a little bit. But just talking about the performative Democrats, Alex Padilla tried his best to summon a bunch of tears on the Senate floor, and this is almost comical. Well, I guess not almost. It is comical.
You've seen the video. I was pushed and pulled, struggled to maintain my balance. I was forced to the ground.
This is
First
so funny.
On my knees, and then flat on my chest.
On his chest. Do you think that during the whole time, I think I heard him, I can't confirm this, but I think I heard him say, make sure that you allow me to show my good side, because all the cameras are there, is you throw me to the ground. By the way, he wasn't thrown to the ground. He was very gently placed in handcuffs as he was on the ground because he wanted to have this. He wasn't arrested. He was detained. But he wanted this, just like this other guy, the two Democrats in Chicago. They also wanted the cameras there as they're demanding entrance into an ICE facility. And you had the guy running for mayor of New York. They're getting exactly what they want. This whole thing is part of their political campaigns leading into not only these mayoral campaigns, but also heading into the midterm elections.
And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained?
This has got to be a Saturday Night Live bit. Is Saturday Night Live in production? Because
I don't know, but it would be great.
It screams Saturday Night Live.
Not once did they tell me why.
Because you're an idiot. And
Tell me why. Ain't nothing but hurting. Just starts going into Backstreet Boys.
Anyway, Alex Padilla and the senator from, California, the senator from California. You're right. I had not heard of him since, he got thrown to the ground by the, by the law enforcement there as he is rushing Kristi Noem. And the Democrats are doing what the Democrats like to do and try to do. They are trying to play the victim because right now, to be honest, that's all they've got. Have you heard the rhetoric that they've got regarding the big, beautiful bill? Oh, wait till you hear this. It is all straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads. As far as your weather goes, a high today of 90, scattered thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Now, remember what we were talking about earlier. We were talking earlier about the rise in wages for those blue-collar jobs. And a big part of that is, of course, the fact that you've got a lot of these illegal aliens now. They are leaving the country, self-deportation. That is a big part of the conversation. But I've got some audio here. This is Democrat Ron Wyden. Now, I've been a big critic of the big, beautiful bill. And so there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't like. But here's the Democrat, Ron Wyden, and he is calling no tax on tips and no tax on overtime and the largest middle-class tax cuts in American history a textbook case of class warfare. Listen to this.
This bill that my colleagues are talking about is a textbook case of class warfare.
How?
It is, in effect, caviar over kids.
What?
And Mar-a-Lago over the middle class.
I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. I have a problem with this bill. There's too much spending. Raising the debt limit, all of that. I've gone over that ad nauseum, but clearly this is not. What did he say? Caviar over, I don't know what he said. None of it made any sense. The bill includes an expanded child care tax credit, savings accounts for newborn kids. Again, no tax on tips and no taxes on overtime as well. Huge middle-class tax cut. These are all very good things. Again, I have issues with the big, beautiful bill because there's a lot of stuff in there, and I don't know if we can afford it. But to say that, that's your hot take, Democrat Ron Wyden, that's your hot take is that it's a textbook case of class warfare. It's simply put, it doesn't make any sense. There are legit reasons to not like the big, beautiful bill, but calling it class warfare, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Former Governor John Hickenlooper from the state of Colorado, he is now a senator, and he had this to say about the big, beautiful bill. And again, I'm playing you this to give you an indication as to how incredibly silly the Democrats are with their arguments against the big, beautiful bill. Because again, there's things not to like about it, but some of the things that they're talking about just don't make sense.
They're trying to ram through their budget that pays for huge tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy by literally gutting health care for working families and adding $2.4 trillion, $3 trillion to our national debt when you include the interest. Here's how that's going to screw over small businesses, too. Unlike huge corporations, most small businesses can't afford to offer health insurance benefits for their employees. Even when one can afford to set up plans for their employees, they often end up stuck with super high premiums, larger than what most larger companies can offer. Nationwide, millions of people who work for small businesses rely on Medicaid for their health care. Nearly half of all people on Medicaid work for small businesses with fewer than 50 employees. And it's especially hard for companies that small to provide health insurance.
So part of what's going on is they're conflating a number of issues there. So number one, they're bringing up, of course, as they do, Medicaid. And as you know, you've heard all of us talk about it. What Trump and the Republicans want to do is take the Medicaid, Medicare, all that stuff away from illegal aliens. That's what they're trying to do. That's number one. Number two, Hickenlooper said that Trump wants to screw over small businesses. The Rapid Response 47 Twitter feed says the one big, beautiful bill will actually make permanent a 23% deduction on qualified small business income and will allow for 100% immediate expensing of certain capital investments like machinery and equipment. So they go on to say you actually, Hickenlooper, have no idea what you're talking about. So there's a lot of rhetoric, and I'm going to be honest with you, there's a lot of rhetoric on both sides. But just to let you know where the one big, beautiful bill, or as I like to say, the really big spending bill is, you have the Democrats and Republicans in the Senate both saying that it still needs an abundance of cuts. And I would say that is actually a good thing. 7:21, and Joan Jones has the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, Iran's supreme leader is out with some messages on X this morning. We'll bring them to you coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here, and listen, summer is just a couple of days away, and you want to be active. You want to go out, you want to have fun, but if you're sidelined with chronic back, neck, and knee pain, you've got to go to my guy, Dr. Kevin Mitchell and the Wellness Institute of Nashville. He's helped a lot of people across Middle Tennessee, and he can help you as well. They are experts in spinal decompression therapy. It works with no pills, no surgery, and no injections. And right now, a great deal for the month of June. You know, they charged Donald Trump with 34 felonies. Not one of them stuck. But at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, we're going to turn that into a positive. The number 34 is now positive with the Wellness Institute of Nashville. It is the presidential special for just $34. You can get your initial consultation, x-rays, and that very first treatment again for just $34. That starts you on your road to a healthier life. Call them at 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com. Dan Metis here for my friends at Contours. Listen, summer, as I said, only a couple of days away. If you've got to squeeze into that bathing suit, if you want to get rid of that belly that you've got and you're worried about how you're going to look in your bathing suit this summer, check out my friends at Contours. They've got that Belly Buster special going on right now. It's going to help you look a whole lot better in that bathing suit. And right now, you can get it for a great price, $99 right now for the first 10 callers. You will get that Belly Buster special. And again, that phone number, 615-236-9960. First 10 callers right now get that 99 special for the Belly Buster only at Contours. Most folks lose at least 2 inches in the middle. I did. A lot of others have as well. Taking advantage of Contours red light technology, it's not only incredibly unique, but also effective. Folks have been coming from all across Middle Tennessee to check out Contours. You can go to their website and see how their Belly Buster therapy featuring red light technology actually works. And right now, 615-236-9960, you get it for just $99. That is for the first 10 callers. 615-236-9960. Find them online. It is ContoursLLC.com. 728. Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Audio, please, if I could. So, the people of New York have a lot of reasons to be angry, and now they've got another one. Listen to this.
That are walking out of this courthouse, taken away from their families. They don't have the attention. They don't have the lawyers. And that's why the state of New York is providing $50 million to cover legal services for people who are finding themselves in this situation.
$50 million. The state of New York is offering and going to give $50 million for lawyers for illegal aliens there in their state. Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine how angry those people in New York must be? Because there's a lot of people in New York that they can't stand all of the illegal immigration because, of course, what it's done to their city. That has been documented by myself and, of course, obviously many, many others. Now, as their city pretty much is in ruins with all of this illegal alien activity going on, now they got $50 million of taxpayer money going to the lawyers for these illegal aliens. Unbelievable. And yet, say it with me, they will still vote for Democrats time and time and time again. And so you know what? You get what you vote for. It is 7:30 on WTN.
Good morning. It's now 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. ABC News reporting that President Trump has been presented with a range of options by his national security team, including direct U.S. involvement to strike Iranian facilities.
Iran warning of an all-out war if the U.S. joins Israel in the escalating conflict in the Middle East. With thousands of American troops based within range of Iranian weapons, an Iranian spokesperson saying in a new interview, any American intervention would be a recipe for an all-out war in the region.
ABC's Rachel Scott just a short time ago, Iran's supreme leader saying Israel has made a huge mistake and will pay a price. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirming that Israeli strikes hit two centrifuge facilities at a research center in the Iranian capital. Centrifuges are machines that are used to enrich uranium. When students return to Williamson County schools in the fall, they'll be under a new cell phone policy. This one, though, allows high schoolers to use their phones during lunch break. It also allows for teachers to make exceptions for cell phone bans. Patrick Vassnet with the Professional Educators of Tennessee telling Channel 4 teachers support having a ban.
Teachers do notice more active engagement, more interaction between students, more interaction between students and teachers.
Tennessee Governor Bill Lee signed a bill recently that restricts the use of cell phones during instructional time. And chef and popular Food Network TV host Ann Burrell has died. The network and her family have confirmed this. She was 55 years old. She's survived by her husband, a son, and her mother. The family, however, has not shared details of her death. Stock futures this morning, they were running a bit higher, waiting on the Federal Reserve's rate decision, which comes out about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So the Dow futures right now are plus 41, NASDAQ futures plus 52, and the S&P futures are gaining 9 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
7:32 on WTN. Listen, it is June. It's time to get your system, your HVAC system serviced the best way, the Busy Bee way. And by the way, you can also get a free trip to the beach if you buy a new AC unit from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You buy the unit, and they'll take care of the vacation, including gas, a couple of meals per day, and lodging. This is a free 3-day beach getaway, and you're in the running if you buy a new HVAC unit from Busy Bee. Now, don't forget all of the June specials. You can get those air ducts clean. We're giving you a free package upgrade. You buy the middle tier package, they will upgrade you to the deluxe package. How about $500 off select tankless or upright water heaters? You can do that as well. Maybe you'd like 15% off of a whole home drain repipe. All of this and a whole lot more awaits you. Find them online, busybeehvac.com. For satisfaction guaranteed, call them 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com. Dan Mandis here. I want to tell you about my friends at the Generator Supercenter. Listen, you know weather, Middle Tennessee, it can get crazy really quick, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter. They are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Now, you can get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation and 24-hour monitoring. They're not going to leave you in the dark, and financing is available. So when the power is out in your neighborhood, your power is going to be on thanks to your backup home standby generator from the Generator Supercenter. Call them 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. Online, GeneratorSupercenterofNashville.com.
Almaville this morning, it's pretty slow on 840, the eastbound side. Between Almaville Road and Veterans Parkway, a crash in the median slowing things down. Also this morning in downtown on 24, the eastbound side at Shelbyville. Make that at Shelby Avenue. Got a crash reported there. White House, another accident. 65, it's in the northbound lanes past Bethel Road. And one more. This is Rutledge Hill, a crash on President Ronald Reagan Way at Lindsley Avenue. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.736, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. It is Wednesday, June 18th of 2025. And I need some audio if I could, KGB. There is a lot going on. I want to play you some audio. And it's like I've got CNN on in here, and they are just in constant breaking news mode. I've been telling you all morning long. Joan's been reporting it as well. We've got all sides that are saying, basically it's the end is near. Iran is out there saying tonight a great surprise is going to occur. All right, so tonight in Iran is, going to be in about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. So keep it tuned to WTN all day long. Israel is saying that if you thought that the Patriot attack against Hamas was incredible, just wait. So we have that to look forward to. Donald Trump sent a message to the supreme leader of Iran that we'll let you live for now, but you've got 48 hours to surrender. The screaming headline from this morning, Trump has given Iran's ruling clerics 48 hours to give themselves up. U.S. officials have indicated that Iran has 24 to 48 hours to surrender and save itself from an American military onslaught as President Trump considers joining Israel's war. Now, there might be a lot of, gamesmanship going on here. Trump has also said in the last couple of days, all Iran has to do is come back to the table. But now Trump is basically saying, I have nothing to say to Iran. They've had months and months to come and negotiate with me. They haven't. And now I think that part of what Trump is doing is he's just allowing Israel, and I think this is the right way to go, he's basically just allowing Israel to take out Iran's nuclear facilities and also their military apparatus as well. And that's smart. And so to me, whether or not in this whole conversation of regime change, whatever happens with regime change, if we leave the regime in there, if Israel leaves the regime in there, whatever, but you decapitate their nuclear and military abilities, then regime can only do so much. I also think that you also respond with as hard sanctions as you possibly can. You got to weaken Iran as much as you possibly can. By the way, new Harvard CAPS polling on this, 85% of the people say that Iran should not be allowed to have nuclear weapons. I would like to know who the 15% is. If 85% of the American people say that Iran should not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon, well, who believes that they should? Sharply divided over making that happen with military action, though. You got 54% of the people saying that we should have military action to take away their nuclear weapon capability. 46% are against this. So, yeah, sharp divisions over that. 69% of Republicans support using the military. 41% of Democrats say, yes, we should use the military. Independents are at 52%. I'm a little surprised when they say that in this Harvard Caps poll, 69% of Republicans support using the military. That does surprise me a little bit because to me, I'll be honest with you, it seems like it's split right down the middle, 50-50, which I think that's consistent with some other polling that we've seen. One guy, though, of course, who is always up for a military fight is one Lindsey Graham.
The men and women who serve, they're the ones going, not people answering a poll. And if you ask them, would you be willing to risk your life to stop the Ayatollah from having a nuclear weapon? All of them would say yes, because it makes their country, our country, safer.
So they'd hit Lindsey Graham, of course, the senator, with that polling. And, it's funny, I was talking earlier in the broadcast how every time I turn on the TV, literally every time I turn on Fox News, I turn on CNN, Lindsey Graham is there, and he's pimping for war. He is. Falling all over himself, trying to get us not only to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, which by and large most of America agrees with, but also to go in militarily to force regime change. And that's where, obviously, we disagree. A lot of folks disagree. But I want to point this out. You know how much Lindsey Graham makes off donations from military contractors? Because, again, remember, if we end up going into Iran, you know who makes a whole bunch of money is these military contractors. You know who donates big time to Lindsey Graham? General Electric, Boeing, Honeywell, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, all contributed thousands and thousands of dollars over the years to Lindsey Graham, the guy who is out there pimping for war. The guy whose company produces military Humvees is a massive donor to Lindsey Graham. So realize when you hear this guy telling us that it's time to go to war, it's because his donors would profit big time.
Let's stop this threat before he gets a nuclear weapon. Let's end this reign of terror. Let's do it now. It's not going to take 20 months, but I can't guarantee you your freedom and your safety unless we're willing to fight for it. I can guarantee you this. If we don't fight for our freedom, we will lose it.
So, it's the same stuff that we heard, and we've all pointed this out before we went into Iraq and so forth. And so, for me, Lindsey Graham has absolutely no credibility. Do you know who has a lot of credibility? That would be Donald Trump. He has been really consistent over the past 10 years. Now, this was Donald Trump on the campaign trail running for president the first time.
I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and we won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry that has absolutely no concept of negotiation, who's making a horrible and laughable deal, who's just being tapped along as they make weapons right now.
Right, and I'm coming up. I'm gonna read for you some excerpts from a really good social media post from J.D. Vance. But ultimately, the premise is, and I think we all agreed on this last night at our event, that Donald Trump, if there's one guy who has credibility in this issue, it is Donald Trump, because the man has by and large been right about our foreign policy, especially when it comes to foreign wars. So that was one moment where Trump, 10 years ago, very consistent, saying the same thing that he's saying now, which is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I forget who it was. I think it was either Matt or somebody here on the station. It wasn't me. But somebody played a great, and I mean a great montage of Donald Trump over the years saying that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And it was like from day one all the way through the present day. There was also, by the way, this moment during a debate with Jeb Bush, where Trump spoke about not only Iran, but also our history on Iraq.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right. Governor Bush.
You know, it's funny because in rewatching that clip, and if you haven't done this in a while,
It's fascinating, isn't it?
go rewatch the clips of the absolute beatdown of Jeb Bush. Do you remember how Jeb Bush, he was supposed to be the president. And Trump came in, and it's like Jeb Bush is folded like a house of cards. He crumpled like a dying flower. You know what I mean? And you could see it on his face during these debates that he just could not. And a lot of those other Republicans, obviously all of them, because Trump annihilated them during the primary there in 2016, where he wiped the floor with all of those Republicans. And Jeb Bush, again, he was supposed to be the president. He was supposed to be the candidate, and Trump pointed out his absolute weakness. And so, yeah, I've been kind of, I don't know why, but I've been going back and watching some of President Trump's old clips. And you know what the thing is? He hasn't lost a lot of fire. Have you noticed that, Joan? Like 10 years ago, he still has, you know, really to me, the same fire and by and large, the same acuity that he had back then. So,
do you know, have you noticed that we haven't heard a peep from the Bidens in a good 2 weeks? Not a peep.
We haven't. Well, you know why that is. They're basically in hiding.
Absolutely.
They're in hiding because they've been shamed.
Yes.
There's the auto pen scandal. There is the, you know, is he or was he mentally fit for office scandal? And that's all, of course, related. There's also, by the way, the other thing that I would say about that is Donald Trump has proven them absolutely wrong when it comes to illegal immigration, where, you know, for 4 years, basically they said, oh, you know, it's got to be Congress and we need more money to close the wall. Donald Trump, boom, like that. He re-implemented the policies that he had implemented before. And basically, using the existing policies, we are down to literally, I think I saw a meme or graphic or whatever, where, you know, 4 years ago, we had hundreds of thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people coming across the southern border 4 years ago in this month. And now we literally have zero. And so Joe Biden and the Democrats, they've been proven to be liars time and time and time again. So you know what? If I was Joe Biden and if I was the Biden administration and anybody even remotely involved with that administration, they should be hiding in shame at what they did, because they've been proven to be liars to the point where it is absolutely scandalous. And even people in their own party are calling the cover-up of Joe Biden's cognitive decline the biggest scandal in recent political history. So, yeah, you're right, Joan. I have not seen them, and that's probably a good thing for America. The next time I see people from the Biden administration, I hope it's in handcuffs. It is 7:48. Boy, we're late for traffic. It is 7:48 on WTN. Time to check the roads. Very good. As far as your weather for today goes, it looks like it's going to be 90 degrees and scattered thunderstorms. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sally says, oh, I love Sally. So Sally on the Super Text line, she's always, as you know, Joan, she's always a little salty.
With you.
A little snarky.
With you.
So she says, I'm one of the, because I was asking, who are the 15% that want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? And so she texted in, I'm one of the 15%. Give Iran a nuclear weapon. Used, of course. And she's got the big mushroom cloud.
Yes.
Have we met Sally?
No, I don't think so.
We were talking about earlier in the broadcast. We were talking about how much I enjoy, and Joan does as well. After the remote last night, how much we enjoy meeting people that we communicate with all the time on the super text line or on Twitter and that kind of thing. And a great event last night, and we did enjoy meeting a number of listeners for the first time. We had a lot of what I thought was interesting last night is we had a lot of first timers. And so, I don't know if if I have met Sally, I apologize that I don't remember, but I meet a lot of people. But always enjoy her texts. I'm looking at it right now, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. And coming up, I don't think I have enough time to do it justice now, but coming up, we're gonna revisit a couple of things. Number one is the battle between Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, because that is great audio and that is a big story for today. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, watch us if you would on YouTube, X 997WTN.com, as well as Facebook. Go ahead and take the Daily Dan poll, and today's poll, KGB, if you've got it up. How exactly did we word the poll, and what are the numbers showing?
What do you predict Trump will do with the Israel-Iran conflict? Will respond with military action or only aid Israel versus Iran? And 66% say only aid Israel versus Iran to the 34% military action.
All right. Very good. And that seems to check out. It is 7:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The news is coming up at 8 o'clock, and Joan Jones has it. Could you tell I was scrambling looking for my sounder?
It scares me every time.
I'm like, how many times can I get the phone number? Where's that piece of audio? Anyway, Joan, what's coming up?
There are more explosions heard in Tehran this morning. Also, some construction on the grounds of the White House. We'll tell you what's going up there. Very interesting. It's coming up here. It's 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:52, Dan Mandis here for my friends at Stoltz Co., a great Tennessee company that does continue to grow, does continue to expand. They build pole barns, and these pole barns are incredible. They can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building. You can live in them. They're called barn dominiums, and these days from Stoltz Co., those barn dominiums are new and improved. Stoltz Co. is now offering you turnkey options. That means they handle the design, the construction, and the amazing finishing touches. You turn the key, and yes, you are home. And by the way, it's Stoltz Co. now, because again, remember, they are expanding. They now also offer storm shelters to keep you and your family safe. Check them out. Your new pole barn from Stoltz Co. can be used for anything. So if you have some land that needs a building for whatever you want, call my friends at Stoltz Co., 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992. You can also find them on Instagram and Facebook to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee, stoltzco.com. 7:57, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Did you hear that Jim Acosta? We all know Jim, right? Apparently, he joked about Donald Trump's dead ex-wife. Do you know one of the things that I've noticed about the media? Yeah, one of the things that I've noticed about the media is there's no depth to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, every time I think that they've gone so low that they can't go any lower, well, then they go lower. So this is the story. This is from the New York Post. Ex-CNN correspondent Jim Acosta joked in an interview posted about Donald Trump's deceased former wife's burial site and called her an example of an immigrant doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do.
That's sick. That's sick.
You know what's so funny, Joan? You would think that Jim Acosta would actually have a little bit of gratitude towards Donald Trump. And work with me here. Follow me here. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, nobody would know who Jim Acosta is.
Yes, that is so
right?
true.
So Jim Acosta, you know, this is the kind of vitriol that we hear from people on the left, right? And members of the media. This is the kind of stuff that we hear, and nobody will call them out on it. But, I mean, conservatives will, and I will, obviously. But this is what they do. And nobody would know who Jim Acosta is. He wouldn't have had a book. He wouldn't have had that highfalutin job on CNN if it wasn't for Donald Trump and Acosta's constant badgering of the president during his first administration. But Acosta was speaking on a No King's Day episode of the Contrarian podcast with Jennifer Rubin, blasting Trump not only for the ICE raids, but argued he is a hypocrite on the immigration issue because of his immigrant wives, including his late first wife, Ivana. So that's kind of dumb because, again, Donald Trump's wives, they were legal immigrants as opposed to what Donald Trump is doing, which is getting rid of illegal immigrants and illegal gangbangers and criminals and all that kind of stuff. So, do you know what? I mean, I could do this all day. The dumb A of the, the Democrat dumb A of the day. Should I do that, Joan?
I think, it would be very popular.
The Democrat dumb A of the day.
Yeah.
Do you think anybody would sponsor? Dave in sales, would anybody sponsor that?
I like it. I'm sure he does.
The Democrat dumb A of the day?
You might need to change it to dummy for just FCC purposes.
No, dumb A. We can say dumb A.
Dumb A is okay.
I meant just sales-wise, that might be hard to sell. Who knows?
Oh, no. Are you kidding? Have you seen, well, never mind.
Well, I mean, we almost got, we almost got togas to go onto the, or loincloths on the statues. We almost got that sponsored.
You know what? Had we pressed that, we probably could have done it. Anyway, got to go. 8 o'clock on WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Intense Israeli airstrikes are being reported again in Tehran this morning. Just another effort to squeeze Iran into surrendering. Former State Department official and ABC News military analyst Steve Ganyard.
The key here is how long can the regime hold out? Because they know they are defenseless. The Israelis have been very deliberate. They've been taking down all the leadership of the military. They took down all of the senior scientists, nuclear scientists. They've been going step by step, city by city, working on taking down not only the military infrastructure, but putting pressure on the Iranian economy by taking off domestic gasoline production, oil, petroleum, refinery capabilities. And so there's tightening the screws on not only the regime, but on the Iranian people.
Meantime, the Ayatollah is busy sending X posts this morning. In one, he calls President Trump's threats absurd rhetoric. Iran's leader is saying that the Iranian nation will not surrender. On the legal crossings front this morning, there is some good news.
The White House now touting a massive drop in border encounters. Customs and Border Patrol recorded more than 12,000 last month along the southwest border. The number represents an 80% drop from the start of the year. The Border Patrol also says no undocumented immigrants were released into the U.S. at the border last month.
ABC's Lionel Moisey reporting a former Franklin soccer coach has pleaded guilty to charges that he drugged and raped several young boys. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
Camilo Campos Hurtado here pleaded guilty to charges including exploitation of a minor and possessing fraudulent immigration documents. Campos will be sentenced in October. He faces a minimum of 15 years in prison.
And the victims were as young as 9 years old. Elon Musk wants to build a tunnel to link downtown Nashville to the airport. It's a project that's been in the first steps of talks for several months. But one Democrat state lawmaker is doing everything she can to prevent it.
Elon Musk is an absolute grifter and scammer, and he has ongoing deals and pitches to cities across the country in which those promises have been unfulfilled.
That's Afton Bain. She has started a petition to block the project. She says she wants lawmakers to focus on fixing state roads, increasing mass transit, and fast-tracking a light rail system. And work has begun on the grounds of the north and south lawns of the White House this morning to install 2 massive flagpoles. These are gifts from President Trump. He announced them on his Truth Social account last night, saying they are tall, tapered, rust-proof, and of the highest quality. The president saying that the flags were always missing from this magnificent place. Those are his words. A flag-raising ceremony later this morning. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stocks have ticked higher this morning. We're waiting on the Federal Reserve's rate decision. That should come along about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Right now, the Dow futures are up just 33. NASDAQ futures up 45. And the S&P futures, they're plus 7. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. A crash in East Nashville on Ellington Parkway southbound past Douglas Avenue. Watch it. Also, Berry Hill, 65 northbound, right at I-440. There is a crash there as well. And watch it for another one in Rutledge Hill. This is on President Ronald Reagan Way at Lindsley Avenue. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:07, Nashville's Morning News. Can we talk about this tunnel?
Yeah.
Joan?
Sure.
So Elon Musk wants to build a tunnel here in Nashville.
Yes.
And he wants to connect, is it what, B&A in downtown?
Correct.
And so what is Afton Bain's problem with that? I think that sounds like a great idea. I mean, just on the surface, I don't know anything else. I don't know the negotiations.
Right.
But, I mean, let's all be honest. I mean, Nashville is growing by leaps and bounds. And so, and our airport is expanding big time. And it's like there's always construction going on there. And it's no secret that sometimes traffic at the airport, it really, really is bad. So Elon Musk wants to build a tunnel. And by the way, they've got these tunnels. I mean, they've got tunnels like in Boston and New York. I mean, they do these things. And Elon Musk has made a fortune digging these tunnels.
Yes. In his it's called the Boring Company. He bores through rock.
Yeah.
And presumably, there'd be a lot of rock to bore through in the Nashville area.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
You talk to anybody who tries to build a pool in this area. I mean, that rock is just, but you know what? It makes a lot of sense. And I don't know exactly how the whole thing would work. But can I ask a question? Who is Afton Bain to decide what Nashville wants and doesn't want?
Well, here she is. You ready?
Sure.
He wants to see his empire grow in the city, and Nashvillians are saying, no, we don't want Musk anywhere near Nashville.
Who?
She knows herself, everything about him.
Who is saying that?
The people in her head.
All those voices in her head?
Yeah.
Hey, Joan, you want to do a snap poll?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love this idea.
So I want to do two things. KGB, I want to take phone calls from Nashvillians, from people in Middle Tennessee. How do you feel about Elon Musk coming in and boring a hole between downtown and B&A? The phone lines are open at 615-737-9986. Because Afton Bain says that she's spoken to all the Nashvillians and all the people across Middle Tennessee, and she says that the people don't want Elon Musk's help in making their commute better. So phone lines are open. Also, KGB, let's also change the poll real quick. Would you support Elon Musk as he wants to, dig a hole? What is it called? Bore a hole between Nashville and B&A? Because I mean, if Afton Bain has done all of this research, and go ahead and play that one more time if you could, Joan, the audio from Afton Bain.
I have a couple of them. You want them both?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
And the phone lines, of course, I've given poor KGB like 19 things to do.
Oh, he'll be all right.
Absolute grifter and scammer. And he has ongoing deals and pitches to cities across the country in which those promises have been unfulfilled.
Okay, so
Elon Musk is an absolute grifter and scammer, and he has ongoing deals and pitches to cities across the country in which those promises have been unfulfilled.
Where? Like, does she have any receipts? Maybe he does. I mean, that's why you sign contracts and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. She doesn't want to do it because it's Elon Musk. She calls him a grifter. So she would, and again, I don't know any of the details, but on first blush, it seems like a decent idea as Nashville continues to grow. And Elon Musk is the guy for the job. He's done this in cities, I'm assuming, because he has the company all across America, probably the world, as a matter of fact. But she wants to work on, what is it, mass transit and planting trees.
Improve the roads, right. Mass transit, because everybody loves taking mass transit.
Right. Like the train that I always see coming from Nashville to Mount Juliet that is like half empty.
Yeah.
You ever see? I don't know if you have a train that goes to where you are, but yeah, the train that comes from between Mount Juliet and in Nashville, I'm always stuck at the tracks, and it's like, where is everybody? You know what I mean? There's nobody on the train.
She, by the way, Afton Bain thinks that this is all about Elon Musk making Elon Musk bigger.
He wants to see his empire grow in the city, and Nashvillians are saying, no, we don't want Musk anywhere near Nashville.
Who is saying that? Again, the voices in her head.
Yeah.
All right. So, and by the way, there is no wrong answer to this. If you don't want Elon, I think it's maybe two separate conversations. Number one, if you do have a problem with Elon Musk, I think the majority of the people that listen to this radio station, which, I mean, I don't mean to brag, but we have a lot of listeners, majority of people who listen to this radio station, I think that they don't have a problem with Elon Musk and his ability to, catch his own rockets and do things like boring holes through cities to make trips to the airport faster. So I don't know who she's talking about. Let's see what people, is the super text, not super text line, but have we changed the Daily Dan poll, KGB?
We have. I had to be quick with it, but I think I worded it how you wanted. Do you support Elon Musk with his Nashville B&A tunnel idea?
Yeah, go there and take the poll right now. I'm doing a snap poll. So I'm taking phone calls at 615-737-9986, and you can also take the Daily Dan poll on YouTube. This is Scott in the Borough on WTN. Hey, Scott, go ahead.
Hey, Dan. I don't have a problem with him boring holes, but I've worked in Nashville for I worked there for 28 years. I retired down there, but for a good 20 years, I started noticing right past Fessler's Lane going into Nashville, there's a rock quarry or something right there, and most people don't notice it, but they've been digging that right there for 20-something years. Every day I would go by and there'd be trainload after trainload of just rock, gravel, and there'd be big piles of it. And every day they ship it out, but I don't know what that tunnel is. There's some kind of tunnel there.
Well, here's what I would say, Scott, and I appreciate the call, is that if you want a tunnel between B&A and downtown, Elon Musk is the guy to do it. Now, the Democrats in Nashville and nimrods like Afton Bain, should we go ahead and make Afton Bain the Democrat dumb A of the day, Joan?
I think she earned it.
I think she has. By proclaiming that Nashvillians don't want a tunnel between B&A and downtown. But let's just all be honest. It's because they don't want, you know what this is, Joan? This is the same mentality where the Democrats didn't want the RNC coming to Nashville. It's the same thing. This is not what's good or bad for the city of Nashville. They just don't want anyone even remotely connected to Donald Trump in their blue city. I think that's what it is. This is Anthony in Nashville on WTN. Anthony, go ahead.
I just think that Afton Ben is actually late for jail, so she can take that and go run with it. But that I would also want Elon to do the boring as well. But Afton's late for jail, and I hope she goes there tomorrow. So.
All right, Anthony. Thank you very much for the call. I appreciate that. This is James in Nashville on WTN. James, go ahead.
I think it gives us an opportunity to establish ourselves as a state that can lead the way in the future with these big, new, modern projects that require the latest engineering techniques. And so this is a big opportunity for us once again. And we're a business-friendly state. We need to keep that image. There's no reason why we don't do it.
You're absolutely right, James. And you know what? We had a big opportunity with the RNC, too, and look what happened with that. More of your calls coming up. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. It is 8:15, and Joan Jones has the traffic on Super Talk.
East Nashville, Ellington Parkway southbound reports an accident past Douglas Avenue. On the left shoulder, no problems on 24 or 40, no unusual delays on 440. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as weather goes, a high of 90 degrees and scattered thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on WTN. This is Nicole on line 2 on WTN. Nicole, go ahead.
Hi, Dan. How are you? Hi, Joan.
Joan, Nicole said hello.
Oh, hello there.
They definitely should do it. Anyone who spends any time at B&A sees all the tourists. And if you could just alleviate some of the motor traffic, getting them to downtown Nashville would make everyone's life a zillion times easier. And the sooner you get them to downtown Nashville, the more money they will spend.
Oh, yeah.
And Nashville is a city based on tourism dollars, and that just makes a ton of sense. And if you make one tunnel, we can make more tunnels and maybe start having some kind of system that alleviates some traffic in Nashville.
Nicole, do you think this is, putting the tunnel aside, do you think this is just a problem that Afton Bain and the Democrats have with Elon Musk?
Oh, I'm sure. And she can be your dumb A of the day every day, I think.
You know what? She provides enough material.
When is her 15 minutes going to be up? When?
Not a second too soon.
Nothing smart ever comes out of her mouth. But I did have an RNC comment. While I agree with you, they didn't want the Republicans here. My husband works for a company that's done a lot of work on the conventions. National Right lost a lot of money on that, and that was the possibility. So I do understand why they may have said no to that.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Once the new Titan Stadium is in, I think that's a better possibility for Nashville.
All right, Nicole, thank you very much. I appreciate the call. This is Tim calling from Nashville on WTN. Go.
Hey, Dan and JJ, how are y'all?
Good morning.
Hey, so my comment is yes, and I think I heard some really smart guy that said that this is just a ploy to keep a Donald Trump associate away from Atlanta and coming in here. Might have been Dan. So yes, I'm all for a tunnel. I drive the highway every day, home and back, or from home and there every day, and it's a mess. It's
All
a
right.
mess. So
All right.
anything that can alleviate traffic would be awesome.
And anything that can help Nashville grow, I think, is good too. This is Tiny on line 4 on WTN. Hey, Tiny.
Hey, greetings and salutations, Manly Dan.
Are you the dude that hugged me that one time?
Oh yeah. Do you need another cuddle?
No, I'm all good, man. I'm cuddled out from Tiny. No offense, man, but
Nice job, Tiny.
Donaldson might have some issues with the tunnel unless there's some environmental research done. They may not want the untreated sewage that is Metro Council having access to the airport.
You know what? I would like them to have access to the airport to give them a one-way ticket out of here. Thank you, Tiny. I appreciate the call. Joe is on line. We've got a lot of calls. Joe is on line 5 on WTN. Hey, Joe, go.
Good morning, Dan. Just a thought on this. Isn't this what Freddie wanted was ease congestion for his buses? I think that's what this tunnel would work that way.
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, first of all, I don't like Freddie's traffic ideas, his transportation plan. Didn't like it at all. We'll have to see where that goes. But for me, I think that part of this is that Elon Musk is still tied to the Trump administration. And so for the Democrats in the Nashville area, whether it's the Congress people, whether it is the Metro Council folks, state representative, they don't want Elon Musk here. And I believe, and despite what Nicole said, she and I will agree to disagree. I believe that because I talked to the Republicans and everybody who was looking into bringing the RNC here, they all said it was going to be a lot of money and a lot of opportunity. And one of the things I said at the time regarding bringing the RNC here was this is a great thing to have on our resume, like our city resume as well, proving that we could do these kind of mammoth events. And so to me, I just think this is the Democrats in Nashville doing everything they can to, forego the city's growth because they have a bone to pick and a problem with Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, I don't even know if he's conservative or Republican. He's kind of like his own thing. So I think that the Democrats are just being petulant. Tim is on line 6 on WTN. Go ahead. Tim, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, Tim. Go ahead.
Hey, it sounds like a great idea. The tunnel sounds like a wonderful idea, but the way people drive in Nashville, could you imagine how many crash and burns and cars upside down inside the tunnel, and the tunnel would probably be shut down more than it would be open?
They've got these kinds of tunnels, and I appreciate the call, Tim. They've got these kind of tunnels in, I don't know, Joan, you lived on the East Coast. I know they have these kind of tunnels in New York. and in Boston, Massachusetts as well. They've got these underground tunnels.
Have you ever driven the Lincoln Tunnel?
I've driven all the tunnels
New Jersey
in New York.
to New York, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's underwater, for heaven's sakes.
I know, that freaks me out.
Yeah.
I got one more call on this, Aaron, and then we're going to check the Daily Dan poll to see what people said online. Aaron, go ahead.
Dan, I hate to inform all of your listeners, but you're all wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
The high-speed rail in California that goes 1,600 feet that has been, at a cost of $20 billion over 16 years, that was a massive success. And we need to see something that ineffective and efficient here in Nashville.
It's perfect.
I don't know where everybody thinks this tunnel would be a great idea, because clearly it would eliminate stress, it would eliminate congestion, and it would actually be beneficial to the state and to the city of Nashville. But we can't have Elon Musk, somebody that does what he says and says what he does. His first notoriety was, I'm going to put a car in space. He did it. I'm going to catch a rocket. He did it.
Yep.
We don't want people that do what they say.
No, we can't have that. And thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. Yeah, that boondoggle out there in California, what a mess that whole thing has been. So,
oh, yeah.
But that's California. And they're overrun with regulations, and California is overrun with, honestly, California is overrun with stupidity. All right, real quick, KGB, what did people say? So I don't know, was there one person, Joan, that said that they did not think that this was a good idea? I think everybody said that it was a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody did.
Right? I don't think I missed one. So, KGB, what are people saying on the Daily Dan poll?
Well, right now it's 85% to yes, they're into this tunnel idea, which, to be fair, I get it. I mean, it seems like a good idea. But I'm also thinking about how long the construction would cost and the delays. I think they would pull at California and it'll be two decades from now.
No way. I think
because
you're wrong.
who's in charge of it? Davidson County would be in charge of it. No,
it depends on how it goes.
Correct.
It depends on if the Democrats decide, and again, we have no idea. This is just a story that came out. I haven't done even a shallow dive on this. I'm just reacting to it. But I think that if Elon Musk is the guy that's doing it, I think that it would be a success. I think that it would come in on time and on budget.
If it's Elon Musk, I agree. But if it's the government's control, different story.
So the good news is here, they've got they call it the loop in Las Vegas. You could have been on it while you were there, KGB. They have this loop already completed in Las Vegas, and it drives people around. Because the kinks have already been worked out in other cities,
right?
It's a great deal for us because it's already been done in other cities, and now they know how to make sure it works here.
And here's the other thing. Part of the problem in California is all of those regulations. And so if, to KGB's point, if the Democrats regulate this and strangle this thing, then we could have a boondoggle on our hands. But if the Democrats just, they allow it to happen and then they let Elon Musk do what Elon Musk does, it would be a huge success. It just depends on, number one, who would ultimately be in charge of the project, and do they let him succeed? That would be the question. But I think the more that I hear of Afton Bain, she's just an idiot.
This is really all about just being against President Trump and anything or anyone having to do with him.
That's what it is. I mean, she called him a grifter.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so if you don't, here's the thing. If you want to focus on, HOV lanes and you want to focus on, transit and all that kind of stuff, just say that. But she started with a personal attack. She called him a grifter, right? So she could say, I don't think this is a good idea for Nashville, but she didn't. She started with a personal attack, which tells you all you need to know about the Democrat dummy of the day, Afton Bain. 8:26 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line, by the way, has just blown up with this topic. Joan Jones has the news coming up at 8:30. Boy, are we running late. Joan, what's coming up?
We just have more on what's happening in Tehran this morning and the president's words as we all wait and watch to see what he decides to do about Iran and Israel. That's all coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 8:27 on Super Talk 99.7. Change is always happening. It is part of life. And when it comes to music, Change is all around us. Songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go, even our taste in music changes. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there is one thing that is going to stay the same, and that is the price of your internet, thanks to Xfinity. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. Now, that means that you get the same price for 5 years. 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with the best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same, again, over 5 years. Now, if you're surprised, and you probably should be, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. Find more online, xfinity.com/deals. That is xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. $828, and let's talk about Clayton Homes. Now, Clayton Homes, they are in the middle of a huge, massive, big home sales event that is going on right now. You can save up to $5,000 instantly on your home purchase at Clayton Homes' Sign and Save sales event. That's right. You can also save up to $2,500 on a single section home, or again, that $5,000 on a multi-section home. Now, Clayton Homes, they are changing the way homes are being built. These are affordable homes, and they do cost less to live in, just in time for summer. Get a home equipped with Energy Smart features for year-round comfort and a lifetime of savings. Clayton Homes feature luxury, quality, and the style you deserve. Now, don't forget that great deal going on right now from Clayton Homes. Save $5,000 on your next home purchase with Clayton Homes and their Sign and Save sales event. You can also save $2,500 on a single section or $5,000 on a multi-section home. Find the local Clayton Homes near you or browse their limited time deals at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. That is manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. That's manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brand retailers through August 31st. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Good morning. Now 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Is President Trump considering getting the U.S. involved in Israel's war with Iran? Well, some, including former State Department official Steve Ganyard, say, it looks like that's possible.
There's obviously lots of intelligence going on in the background that we don't know, and it's probably best that the public doesn't know, because the president, at least arguably, does not want to go to war, and he ran on not going to war and getting us out of the forever wars. And so he probably really doesn't want to do this, but given his tone and the kinds of things that he's saying now, he is obviously being convinced that the Iranians have been stalling and that they would never willingly give up that nuclear capability.
The U.S., he says, is the only country with the bunker buster bomb that could penetrate Iran's Fordo facility. Metro Council adopting a new budget. This one runs $3.8 billion. News 2's Peyton Kennedy says Metro employees get a 2% pay increase, and there's money for parks, doulas for pregnant women, and food assistance programs. How to pay for it all?
The increased property tax rate brought the most contention. The combined tax rate is now 2.8 per every $100 of assessed value. Some council members spoke about the burden this places on residents. Others expressing they feel this budget was predetermined and there was no room for debate.
And it really feels like this cake was baked before it actually got here.
we got 20,000 here, 80,000 there, a little bit there, little sprinkles on the top, or maybe flavoring the icing a little bit. But this thing was fully baked when we got it.
That's Councilmember Jeff Eslick. The new budget takes effect July 1st. When it comes to customer satisfaction at fast food restaurants, it looks like Chick-fil-A leads the pecking order again. The chicken chain rated an 83 out of 100 in the latest survey, holding the top spot for 11 consecutive years. The fast food brand with the lowest customer satisfaction score in the study, McDonald's at 70. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And as stocks begin trading this morning, it's really on the flat side this morning. Dow Jones Industrial's up 7 points, NASDAQ gaining just a fraction, and the S&P 500 index is up about 2. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Look at Joan, 8:33, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. DT McCall's. Listen, a great Tennessee company that is here for you and their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value. Now, I've been telling you for years about DT McCall's. They've been helping people out for 3 generations, and if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. Indoor furniture, if you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's. Of course, you know all about their lawn mowers and outdoor lawn equipment, appliances. If it plugs in, they've got it, and they've always got specials going on to save you money right there on the front page of their website. Go right now. I guarantee you they've got great prices on all the best brands of appliances like washer and dryer sets, dishwashers, and a whole lot more. They've been at it for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. And if you buy it, they'll deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com.
.65 north looks a little slow as you're heading northbound after Cool Springs this morning. It's slow as well on 24, all the usual spots. And you also have an accident in the West End. It's a stalled out car, as a matter of fact, on 440, the eastbound side before West End Avenue, and it blocks off the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Thankfully for yours truly, another broadcast day comes crashing to a close.
What? I thought you had a good show.
With the crisscross handoff. Oh, no, it's been fine.
You got callers, people reacting.
Mm-hmm.
You got breaking news.
Oh, by the way, what's it been?
Jones been here the whole show?
Yes.
That's my buddy, Chris.
Jones been here the whole... What am I missing?
I was just joking.
Oh, okay.
You said you had a great show.
I did.
Jones been here the whole time.
Oh, got it. Well, listen, I love working with Joan.
Yeah, if you have to nudge him and tell him a second time, whew.
Listen, I'm a little slow today, man.
He was just telling me he's very, very sleepy.
I am. It's been a rough show. 'Cause I'm tired because I went back to the... You know what I've discovered is... trying to sleep at a Best Western in Nashville, Tennessee is not the best of, if you're trying to get sleep, that's probably not the place to do it. So anyway, but you had a fun at the event last night?
Had a blast. We always have a great time meeting our listeners. And we met so many great people. We saw some of the regulars. Shout out to my buddy Scrappy. And then
Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, Turd Ferguson was there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Scrappy, you saw Scrappy. He's the kid that wears the military fatigues.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Love him. Yeah, he's awesome.
The best.
I got a hug from him.
I got a few of them too.
Yeah.
I got a hug from Scrappy. A lot of other people too, and had a good time.
Yeah.
You know what people don't expect is that everybody else makes fun of the whole hugging thing. And so when people come up and jokingly say that they're going to, give me a hug, they always seem like so confused when I come in for the hug.
Are you ready? Are you ready for my conspiracy theory?
Sure.
My conspiracy theory is you secretly love hugs. And what you've done is a bit of reverse psychology on the audience. So that way you can take in all the hugs.
That's what it is. I want all the hugs. See, this is good. So if I act like I'm a creeper who wants people to hug me, nobody will.
Come on, give Dan a hug so we can
man, it's give Dan a hug day.
Get in close. He might take a sniff.
Was it last night? I forget what happened, but somebody, I don't know if it was on the air or off the air, but I promised not to sniff somebody. Remember that? Oh, all right. That got weird. Anyway, whatever. So moving right along. But yeah, it was a good time.
My favorite part was how nervous you were drinking alcohol during the broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
You drank alcohol?
He was downright shook that he might get in trouble.
Wow.
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to drink alcohol. Well, thank you for bringing it up on I did yesterday. So, yeah.
Dan, I'm getting a call. You need to be seen in the office later.
Somebody gave me a shot of something.
It was Chris.
It was kind of funny. This waitress I'm on the air, and the waitress comes by and plops like a little shot glass kind of a thing. And I, of course, am completely taken aback by this waitress handing me a drink, and I'm totally confused.
Yep.
Do you know that in all my years, never once has anyone ever sent me a drink in a bar?
Really?
Never. That's never happened once.
Whoa,
Are you kidding?
Check it off the bucket list, Dan.
That's exactly right. Somebody actually sent me a drink at the thing. I was totally confused. I didn't know what to do.
My favorite part was like, am I allowed to drink this on the air? And Murphy just picks up a beer and he's like, figure it out, Dan, and he takes a sip.
That surprises me none.
So I took a few sips, and then Murphy Show, of course, dares me. Was it Chris or was it was it Matt or was it Chad? One of you three malcontents said, just down it, Dan, just down it. So, of course,
it's because it was in a shot glass, and you were taking you had your pinky out, taking little sips.
I did not have my pinky out.
We'd have to go to the tape, Dan.
No, the tape has betrayed me on more than one occasion, so no, we're not going to do that. Anyway, but yeah, so I ended up down. It was really good,
That's what people were saying.
That is what people were saying.
They said it was Malibu rum.
Yeah, and I took that shot.
Oh, that's good stuff.
And then the controversial moment when Joan started picking in my pizza.
Yeah, did you see that? She really crossed the line there.
She really did. I mean, listen, I'm just going to tell you, folks, don't trust Joan Jones with pepperoni.
No, don't do it.
Or sausage.
Come on. It was really good. You had a whole pizza that you weren't going to eat.
It's all good, Joan. It's all good. You know what? Tomorrow, I expect a couple of pieces of pepperoni and a sausage in a little baggie, and you're going to bring it. That's what you're going to do.
I didn't take the sausage. I only took the pepperoni.
Okay, good. Hey, did you hear that Tucker Carlson? What are you laughing at?
Well, I was debating on whether or not to repeat the line that you said last night.
No, let's
You
not.
probably shouldn't.
No, let's not.
Yeah.
Hey, keep your hands off mine. I won't do it.
Well, thanks for not doing it. Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
All right, you want to set up this Tucker and Ted Cruz audio? Because Chris has been champing and chomping at the bit to get this audio on.
Champing and chomping?
Yeah.
Which one is it, though?
Champing, chomping, chimping?
Well, it's champing, but whenever I
Yeah.
say champing, because I know that that's the right way to say it.
Somebody corrects you.
People tell me it's chomping.
Yeah.
So, whatever. You're on the radio. Are you not?
I know. I'm sorry.
All right, good. So go ahead and set this up because
so unprofessional.
No shock that Chris, and I'm kidding. No shock that
Are you? Every good joke has some truth, Dan.
no shock that Chris is taking Tucker's side on
Tell
this.
me how you really feel. It gave me shades of Vivek versus Nikki Haley at the Republican debates.
Okay. So you got Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson, and this is a little snippet, about a minute 32 of them going back and forth.
And for the record, Tucker roasts him.
And so the question was, yes. And so the question was, as Tucker said that Ted Cruz is looking for regime change to topple the regime in Iran, Tucker asked a simple question. How many people live in Iran? Do you even know?
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah, how could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about the country. What's the ethnic mix of Iran?
Oh.
This was
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute. It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So okay, actually, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran. You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who don't know claims anything about the country. No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the I'm one not saying that. who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad. You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump. Yes, I do. Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that, we're carrying out military strikes today. You said Israel was right with our.
So I want to make sure people catch the nuance here because it's kind of skates real quick by. So Cruz said something to the effect of "We are."
Well, because Tucker had said if you believed that they were trying to kill Donald Trump, you would have military strikes on them today. So I don't think that you actually believe that, which I'm firmly in Tucker's camp on that. I think it's just propaganda. And he goes, no, we are bombing them today.
Right. And, right. And so Tucker takes that we and he runs with it. And by the way, I posted this on my social media. The way that Tucker is looking at the camera.
Oh, my gosh. He's salivating.
Yeah. All right, listen.
Idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad. You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump. Yes, I do. Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that... We're carrying out military strikes today. You said Israel was. Right. With our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them. Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity. No, we're not at all. bombing them. Israel's bombing them. You just said we were.
That's where
we are supporting this is Israel. High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay. Now, I'm here to tell you, I think Tucker was being a little splitting of hairs, taking Cruz too literally and being argumentative and provocative. But we can agree to disagree on this. I think Tucker.
But he said, you're a sitting senator. These things matter. What you say, people are listening. So even if he misspoke, he needs to calm down a little bit and be very measured with his words as a sitting senator. Who's calling for regime change and overthrowing that government.
Well, and see, that's a completely different conversation because there are legit arguments on both sides, as you and I had yesterday. Should Ted Cruz have known how many people are in Iran? I will say this. I was surprised that he didn't because he's got all of those intel reports and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not going to say he should have known. I was surprised, though, that he didn't. It would seem to make sense that he would know how many people are in Iran because he studies on those committees and such. So I was a little surprised by that.
What I think was more surprising is, like, if he got caught off guard, like, fine. Like, maybe he didn't just remember off the top of his head because he didn't have it in front of him. But what I think is more surprising is you're going into a conversation with Tucker Carlson, who is very anti-war in this situation, and you don't have your ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he should have been able to rattle off 92 million. When Tucker goes, how many different ethnic groups? What's the makeup? He should have said there's 12 different ethnic groups in Iran. He should have had all of those answers ready to go because he should have known that line of questioning was going to come. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. He should have known. I think those were gotcha questions, but I was surprised that Ted Cruz didn't know.
Well, and
I was surprised.
Ted's supposed to be a smart guy.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Do you know why? I'm going to say this because I'm Team Ted on this. I'm just telling you. But I also think that he is also arrogant. Ted Cruz is arrogant. He is universally known as arrogant. So, to your point, he went in there thinking that he knew everything, and he clearly didn't. He didn't do his homework. That's where the arrogance comes in. And again, I'm saying this as, Team Ted on this one. So,
yeah, I mean,
but he shanked his interview prep.
I don't know if he walked in there realizing it was going to be as hostile as it was, which
that's
he should have known.
Then that's his own ignorance.
Yep. But it goes back to that arrogance and that hubris.
Arrogance, yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's do something we can all agree on.
Really Team Ted on that one?
Yeah, I am. I'm Team Ted.
That's surprising.
I don't know who you are anymore.
You never did.
Arnold Schwarzenegger on The View. I love this.
If you are an immigrant, you're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy that I was impressed by the American people like that.
And so he goes through all of this praise for America, the land of opportunity, how grateful he is to be here and accepted.
He spends about 2 minutes rope-a-doping the ladies of The View and luring them in. And they're like, wow, this is great. This is great. We love it. We love it. And then he drops a Moab on them.
Oh, this is awesome. Listen.
I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, So you got to do things legal. And those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest.
And part of what I love, real quickly, guys, part of what I love is the fact that Joy Behar keeps trying to interrupt him.
And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is.
And he turned the audience, too.
Yeah, and I love that Joy Behar. But, you know what I mean? God, is so yeah, I know you've got a whole segment on that plan.
Yep,
so
we do.
You can save your fire for that. It is 8:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones, what is coming up?
We've got the warnings that are coming from Israel this morning, and more jobs are coming to Middle Tennessee. We've got that coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. At 8:53, want to welcome on in Tony from Cabinet Solutions. Tony, how are you, buddy? What's going on?
I'm doing wonderful, Dan. How about you?
Doing good. So you want to talk about some specials that are going on right now at Cabinet Solutions?
Well, I don't really have any specials per se, but we have everyday low prices.
There you go.
And we give the best price that we can. We don't mark up things tremendously. And one reason we do that is because we've got 15 brands of cabinets in different price points for what people need. If they've got a low budget, we have got cabinets for that. If they've got a regular budget, we've got cabinets for that. If they want to just really deck their house out with real nice custom stuff, we can do that as well. And so we encourage people to make an appointment just to see what we have and what we could do for them.
All right, Tony, and people can get in touch with you at the website. Remind me the email address.
The website is mycabinetsolution.com, no S there, mycabinetsolution.com. They can browse around, and when they're ready, they can go to the Contact Us tab, and they fill out a real quick contact form, and that comes directly to me, and then I will call them and discuss their project with them and get them started.
All right, Tony. And again, that website one more time, mycabinetsolution.com. Dan Metis here, 855 Mark Spain Real Estate. The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, it is the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time, make the most money, and eliminate all the hassle when you sell your home this summer. Mark Spain Real Estate, you know they were ranked on the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. for the 8th year in a row. They respond fast, and yes, they are one of the most experienced real estate teams in America. Call them, Mark Spain Real Estate. Get your guaranteed offer today. There is no obligation. 855-299-SOLD. 855-299-SOLD. You can find them online anytime. MarkSpain.com and start packing.